We're going to do it now. We're going to do it live. We're going to do it hard.
Do it.
We're live.
Do it.
All right, sound check portion, people.
What?
Sounded like somebody just came out the house door.
It did sound like a door shutting.
Yeah. All right, whatever. We're live, people. Let us know how we sound.
Live we are.
This is the sound check portion.
Sound check portion of this.
Give us all your clicks, and we'll get started here in just a couple minutes.
I am going to turn this into. Have you fucked around with the focus port, like the new focus option in iOS 15?
No.
It's actually pretty good. Like I have.
What does it do?
It's basically a customizable do not disturb.
Oh, is that why all my texts are now on do not disturb?
Well, only if it's in full do not disturb. Like I have different options for like if I'm in full do not disturb, I don't shit bother.
I've noticed that if I text you too early in the morning, like
Yeah, fuck off.
it's like your notifications will not be disturbed. But then there's a little option right underneath that. It's like notify anyway, and I've done that before with
You
you.
fuckers. Who's in a tunnel? Or in the bathroom? Which one of us?
Yeah, one or both.
Uno or dos? Is it Jason or is it me?
Bad echo. Bad echo. Okay, hold on. Let's
Echo.
audio. Let's try this one.
Oh, I know why. I know why. Stand by.
Oh my god.
Okay, how about now? That should be better.
All right, let us know now. What did you not pause your mic?
I did not mute the mic.
All right.
When I logged back in, I did not remute my mic.
All right, let us know how it is now.
This is why we do the sound check, people.
Exactly.
This is why we do. We are professionals.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got a better in caps. This is the kind of shit you get also.
Oh,
you okay? You good?
I'm clearing.
All right. So it sounds like that cleared up our problem. So again, good. That's why.
Sound is good.
That's why I'm here.
Why? What was I talking about?
I have no idea.
Oh, the do not disturb shit. Yeah. I actually farted around after you yelled at me for. I won't be ignored.
Yeah, it was the Fatal Attraction line. I'm not going to be ignored.
Yes. So I farted around and created like some. I'm so sick of the spam calling, because I get phone calls for like Lodge and stuff like that I don't have the phone numbers, and all the people in the squadron from all over the country. So just because it's from a number I don't recognize doesn't necessarily mean it's a spam call.
Oh, so you have to answer.
So I have to answer. So really what I do most of the time is just push to a text that says, hey, text me back.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't text back, then I know it's not legit. It's fucking annoying. It really is.
Yeah. No, it's got me to the point where if it's not somebody in my contacts, I don't answer it. Period.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean.
That's where I am now with cell phones.
Yeah, it's super fucking annoying. Anyway, we could save shit like that for the show.
See.
3PO.
Right.
Man, I'm gonna have voice issues today.
Well, it is 5:30. You won.
I can feel it. Let's do it.
All right.
Are we ready?
Yeah, we're.
All right.
It's your toast, by the way.
Fuck.
We didn't talk about that beforehand, but it's something that you need to make sure you have after the video rolls. It's a tree right outside that window. When the wind blows, it
All right.
scrapes.
It's not a bird trying to get into the.
No, nor is it anyone trying to kill us. So.
Well, I mean, that I can deal with.
Yeah.
Shotgun Mark finally has a night off.
Yo. Haven't seen that motherfucker in forever.
Fuck. Damn it. I'll come up with something.
You got 30 seconds to think about it.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
Actually,
it's closer to like 37 seconds.
37?
Actually, yeah, that would 37.
In a row?
All right. Are we ready?
Yeah, I've been ready.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. to Alan from Press Play Streaming.
To Alan.
And Alan is the guy who hooked us up with our the video that played. If you're watching us on YouTube, you saw a great intro video.
Yep.
It wasn't exactly what Alan had sent. Alan sent us this through Lunar Girl. The original video was about a minute long, and I think a minute is a little bit too much for our 30 seconds of silence that we do in the beginning. So I took some liberties and shortened it a wee bit. And honestly, you went through all that effort to make the video for us. I wanted to get it into the show today because it's great. He does this on his own time. He did it for us. We didn't ask for it. He's doing this for a lot of the Red 5 podcasters.
Yep.
So,
and once again, that's Alan from Press Play Streaming Studios.
Yes, it is. And yeah, he's our Red 5 fucking awesomeness for hooking us up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool.
Thank you, Alan. And that being said, hello everyone, and welcome to the Sidebar Cantina, the podcast where we talk about Star Wars, pop culture, NFL football, or whatever the fuck we feel like talking about. I'm Mr. Jason Roskam. With me here each and every single week, the Detroit Lions to my Pittsburgh Steelers, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Fucking poor Detroit Lions.
That's par for the course for that.
That's
awful franchise.
Oh my god. Well, you can't. Yeah.
So So anyway, Dave, how are you?
I'm okay, I guess. Here, it's a Monday after a long weekend.
Yeah, I had a 4-day weekend myself. I know you took all last week off, and we'll get to that. But...
Damn near. And yeah, getting to work after a long weekend is just fucking brutal.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely brutal.
Absolutely. So, what are we talking about today?
Why do I hate Dave? What? Who hates Dave? Wait a minute. Who hates Dave?
Pretty sure I called you the Lions. So,
Oh.
Obviously that explains my feelings right from the get-go, referring you to the Detroit Lions.
Well, all right, that's fair. Sorry, chat interruption.
Yes.
Follow us on YouTube.
Right. So what are we talking about today?
We're not talking about the YouTube. We're talking about the Xbox.
Yes, the original.
The original Xbox.
Because today, November 15th, is the official 20th anniversary of the release of the original Xbox and Halo Combat Evolved.
Really? Today's the day?
The day.
Wow, we timed that really well.
Yeah, because I don't know if you've been on Facebook. I've only kind of been on Facebook because of issues that I'll get to when we get to our weeks.
Issues.
Yeah, apparently they have issues with some of the things that I post. But I digress. Today is the official anniversary date. I have a lot of personal stories to talk about when we get to the Xbox. So... the original Xbox was a pioneer in console gaming. Even though it wasn't a terribly successful console itself, what it started and the things that it did led to a lot of what we're seeing nowadays in console gaming. So we're going to get into all of that. But, pardon me. I'm also drinking some chocolate Yingling today. So
yeah.
It's going down nice and coming back up even nicer.
Yeah, it's a little dessert after the lovely dinner that we had.
Indeed. So before we get into anything else, we've got some business to take care of. We have some new 5-star reviews, Dave.
We do. We do indeed.
Yes. So we have 3 this week. And I want to remind everybody, if you go on to preferably iTunes, but anywhere else you can get a podcast and write a review, please go and write us a 5-star review. And if you do, we will read whatever you write verbatim here on the show. So we have 3 new reviews this week. Yes. And, by the way, our social media director, Lunar Girl, will also send you stickers.
Yes.
So please do that. Send us screenshots, and we will do things accordingly.
Verbatim.
Yes. So I have the first one, and this is Variety at its Best with a found... the rest got cut off. This is from Charles Westcott. Jason and Dave bring awesome energy to every show. It's an entertaining mix of Star Wars, pop culture, and whatever they feel like talking about. But rest assured, it's all in the nerdverse. Keep up the show. Yeah. Charles and Pat, Conversations Podcast.
There you go.
Check them out, part of the Red 5 Network. P.S. We're now bumped Cam Ray's 5-star review from the first slot. Bonus.
Nice. Well, I enjoy some friendly competition for who's got the the top 5-star rating.
Yep.
So keep it up. Yeah,
Yes.
we will further propagate that.
And thank you again, Charles and Pat from Conversations Podcast. Go check
Foundation.
those guys out.
Foundation in Star Wars apparently was what was cut off.
All right, fair enough. So you've got the next one, Dave.
I do have the next one, and it's titled "Real Talk at the Cantina." This was 5 stars from Tizad.
Nice.
The Tizad in the Hizad. Mm-hmm. The Sidebar Cantina really brought it when they discussed 9/11. It is not something to celebrate, but it is hard to believe that it has been 20 years. It has been personal for everyone, and I enjoyed their perspective as they discussed their story about this tragic day. Keep up the great work, guys. Todd from WSTR, Galactic Public Access, another of our Red 5 family. Thank you for the review, Todd.
And quick sidebar on something that he mentioned. That 9/11 episode, by the way, that's one of our most downloaded audio episodes, like, in the last year.
No shit.
Yeah, I think that might be the top downloaded episode for us. So,
Very cool.
yeah, little trivia there. The next one, I'm not seeing who this is from, but yeah, it's another 5-star review. It looks like it's not from iTunes either, so it's from another review place. But it's titled "Great Show." Dave and someone who thinks he is the champ of their fantasy football league put together a great show, consistently talking about pop culture, Star Wars, 90s music, and whatever else comes to mind. Please give a listen to these gentlemen, and you won't be disappointed. Kelly, I want my stickers.
Ha!
So thank you, mystery 5-star person.
I like a singular purpose. I want stickers. I'm going to leave a review. I'm going to take a jab at Jason.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Shit right all over me. Which,
Yes.
Speaking of which, the Rams better fucking get their shit together tonight. Because if I lose tonight, I've got this massive, like, sexist, misogynist rant, like, just like on the cusp, that's like ready to explode if my only 2 losses are to the 2 women that are in our fantasy league. So
I want this to happen.
hopefully the Rams do their bit and you won't have to be exposed to that. But
I want this to happen so bad.
lots of comments about the kitchen
Right.
being barefoot and pregnant and things
Right.
like that. So that's
Right.
coming if I lose tonight.
Okay.
So be ready for that.
So I want Kristen to sit right here when that's all happening. I want her sitting right here because it'll be fucking brilliant.
Indeed. Are you supposed to talk about the Red 5 Network before we move on?
I have a lot to say about the Red 5 Network after the show, as well as a lot of our own stuff. I mean, we can talk about where you can find us on our social media stuff, like on Twitter. We're not the Sidebar Cantina. It's just Sidebar Cantina on Twitter, which apparently people do. People are on Twitter.
I guess. I hear it's a thing.
Yeah, I hear it's a thing as well. Whatever. On Twitch, we've renewed
Yes.
our twitching.
Yeah, we're back on Twitch under a new name.
Yeah, the Sidebar Cantina.
Yeah, twitch.tv/the Sidebar Cantina, all one word. And we've streamed a couple of times over the last couple of days.
Yep, and Lunar Girl's been catching snippets of it and posting, which some of them I think are actually pretty funny. Especially the ones of me getting killed by fucking this guy over here.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You killing me. We've got the fucking evidence. It's on the Twitch stream.
I haven't seen any of this, and I'm pretty sure those videos weren't saved, so sad face.
Whatever. We have the video evidence. It's on the Twitch stream. Check it out. On Facebook, the Sidebar Cantina Facebook group. Get in there. And back to the fantasy football real quick. Just a reminder. Supergirl wants to let us know that if she wins the league, embarrassing pictures of Jason will surface that he does not want people to see.
Fuck, I know exactly what she's talking about, too.
Ah! Yes! Make this happen!
Damn it.
All right. Anyway. Dave only killed Jason once. Jason killed Dave dozens of times. Thank you. Anyway, Instagram, we're at the Sidebar Cantina, and on Discord, where honestly because somebody can't keep out of Facebook jail, which he'll talk about later, most of our depravity is happening on the Discord server, where Sweet Studios is newly on the Discord server, which has been actually pretty good because now we can start requesting what we want to hear out of Sweet Studios as far as covers.
Yep.
So that's actually pretty cool.
I mean, I'm assuming that my request is at the top of his queue, so
Which Mariah Carey song
No,
is that?
the metal version of Rush Rush.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has to do it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he said that that's not going to happen.
Well, I'm never going to drop this. For as long as he and I live, I will
Okay.
never drop this.
Fair enough.
So if he wants me to stop talking about it, he just needs to just do it already.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
all right.
But regardless, yeah, and we already kind of alluded to 5-star reviews. Lunar Girl's going to send you some stickers. Yeah, she'll get it out the next day. She has a bunch of stuff here. I got a bunch of stuff to read at the end of the show, so we will get to that at the end of the show. But let's press on.
All right. So before we get into our weeks, there was one little kind of piece of Star Wars news this week, sort
Just
of.
a little.
So Disney had this big Disney Plus event, which if you're a Marvel fan, it was probably fucking great because they announced like fucking 5 million new Marvel shows
Really?
that are coming out to Disney Plus, which I'm
Like
looking
what?
at them like fucking, I don't know, like a bunch of bullshit I've never heard of. Something called Echo, some She-Hulk stuff, some other stuff that I could really give a rat's ass about. And I'm looking at all this, I'm like, wow, this looks so exciting.
Who?
I mean, trust me, I understand the people who are passionate about this, and I don't want to take that away from them. But at the same time, that ain't me. Like, I watched up to Avengers Endgame. That was a good stopping point for me, Marvel wise. I don't need to get into all this other shit. I'm not as big into the Marvel stuff, even close as I am with Star Wars.
I just don't. It's talk about saturation. I just
And that's what I was thinking. With all the movies and all the fucking TV shows and shit, like, at what point are they going to reach a point of oversaturation with this Marvel stuff? You'd think that it would have happened by now, and it still hasn't. So,
well, I'm curious. I haven't seen the Escape Pod, their review of Eternals. I know they went and saw that, so you can check out those guys. The Escape Pod, ATSW Escape Pod on YouTube. They did a thing on the Eternals. I will never see that movie. I could give 2 shits.
yeah.
I could give 3 shits, 3 about any of that stuff. I really do not care. I have zero desire
Yeah.
to see it.
But we got a tiny nugget of, speaking of taking shits, we got a tiny nugget of Star Wars, which
This
really
will
was
help.
tiny.
This will help.
Indeed it will.
honestly. Look at how dark that is.
Yeah.
And it's got chocolate in it. So it will help you shit.
Anyway, we got a small, it wasn't even a teaser. It was sort of some people called it a sizzle reel. It wasn't even that. It was basically a 10-second interview with Ewan McGregor and Deborah Chow, the actor who plays Obi-Wan, and then the lady who's like the showrunner
Right.
of the whole thing. And they're just like, oh yeah, we're so excited to do this. They showed some concept art, and then that was it. And they talked about Hayden Christensen coming back
Yep.
as Darth Vader and what may happen with that.
Yeah,
But
they teased a fight sequence
right,
between the two of them.
yeah, they showed one montage of Ewan McGregor training with a lightsaber with
Right.
like a mask on.
with a mask on.
Yeah, which I don't know if that's a COVID thing or if that was like a costume thing.
I'm willing to bet that's a costume thing, because if he's wearing the costume and having to sword fight, that's probably restricting his breathing. So he's probably like training to that.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
That's what I got out of that little snippet. Mm-hmm. Listen, you know what this is? This is, hey kids, here's your carrot. I'm gonna
Yeah.
dangle this carrot, the Star Wars carrot, in front of you, and just keep coming towards it. Just keep coming. It's okay. It's here. It's in front of you. We're gonna parade Ewan McGregor out here, and you're gonna go, oh, whatever, just give it to me. I want it.
Him and his thick Scottish accent.
Right? Yeah.
I think he should be mandated to speak in just like a full British accent when he's doing interviews, like press for anything Star Wars related.
Sound just put the heaviest fucking like back alley brogue on that he can, and nobody can fucking understand him.
Yeah.
They can fuck this up 6 ways to Sunday.
Yeah.
They really could. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping. So here's the thing with this Obi-Wan bit, and listen to all of our past bullshit about what's going on with what we think about the Kenobi stuff. Mm-hmm. As somebody who read the Kenobi Now Legends material, which I thought was extremely well done.
Yeah.
As a novel, as a standalone book, with basically what Ben Kenobi did while he was on Tatooine, basically providing Overwatch for fucking Luke.
Mm-hmm.
It was there were good stories. It was one book, good stuff.
Yeah.
Now, if they take that same track, it's really it's him on Tatooine getting into a couple little tussles or whatever
Yeah.
with the locals. Nothing involving fucking bringing Vader, into it.
Yeah,
Bringing,
that's
you get this concept art with the Inquisitor, like you remarked.
right. Yeah, now that I thought was interesting because one of those pieces of concept art was an Inquisitor landing on Tatooine and getting off the shuttle, and
Right.
I think it was one of the female Inquisitors. She had more of a slender body,
Right.
But I mean, that's a good story in itself, and that fits in the Star Wars canon with what we know already.
It does, and it's very. I don't know. It's very. Okay, cool. We know that's canonical. All right, but how do we get this confrontation between Vader and Obi-Wan at a time when we know that in Episode 4, Vader and Obi-Wan's fight it's supposed to have this long period of time where the
Right.
teacher and the student have not seen each other.
When I
for
left
so
you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Right. So how do we get to that point? So I'm not one to like trash basically going back and telling the story, but at the same time, A New Hope is one of those. This is the birthplace of the canon, right?
Yeah.
So don't do something that's going to besmirch that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I 100% agree. And it's like you said, there are so many ways they can fuck this up and very few ways they can probably do this well. So I know I'll be going into it with a little bit of reservations. Obviously, I'm going to be stoked for it when it comes out, and
Right.
we'll watch
Oh,
it as
God,
soon as it comes out. But yes, there's so many things that could go wrong with this. But I do remember Deborah Chow. She's directed like 2 or 3 episodes of Mandalorian,
Yeah.
and they were all pretty good.
Yeah, I think she's got the right pedigree, if you will,
Yeah.
to do something good. I think it can be great.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can be a great short. What is it going to be, like 5 or 6 episodes?
I heard something like 4 2-hour episodes or 4 hour-and-a-half episodes, some shit like that.
I think that can be done very well.
Yeah.
Very, very well. But us managing expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which we're really bad at. Historically, we are really bad at that.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk good shit about managing expectations. I'm here to tell you, we're fucking horrific at it.
Yeah. Just do as we say, not as we do.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, there was a Boba Fett thing that was released on Disney Plus to kind of go along with this. I haven't watched it yet. It's kind of in my queue of things to do, but I have not gotten around to watching that yet. I'm assuming you haven't yet either.
No,
Yeah, so
I have not.
once we watch that, we'll comment on it in a later episode. But for now, yeah, there's something out there Boba Fett wise. Basically, just probably more fluff to get you jazzed about Book of Boba Fett coming December 29th.
Yeah, indeed.
So that being said, we ready to get into our weeks?
Yes.
All right. I don't know why I put this in the notes, but yeah, it feels like we just did this because we had that long break where we kind of took several weeks off to kind of like clear our heads and we had shit going on. It feels like we were just here doing this podcast. It feels like it was less than a week ago that we were doing this. Now, granted, we've done some stuff in between. We recorded that video for the Red 5 for the Parsec Awards.
Right.
So we did that in the middle of the week. We did some Twitch streaming, but it just feels like we just fucking did this. And I think it's because of that break is why it feels like these episodes are closer together. Right. I don't know. I just felt the need to put that.
I don't know. This is it. I've fallen back into my normal battle rhythm.
Mm.
So it doesn't seem all that strange to me.
Why are you shaking the table? What is going on over there?
I'm very.
I look down at my microphone's like. Brrr.
Yeah, I'm a little twitchy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, something I've been doing over the last week, I've gone back and I've started playing this game that I really, really love. I think I've even mentioned it a couple of times on the podcast. A game called Galactic Civilizations 2. Do you remember me talking about that? It's if you've ever played the Civilization games, it's similar to that style of game. It's like a turn-based strategy game where you're like, instead of trying to conquer like Earth, you're conquering space. And this is an old game. This was released in like 2006, but I've been playing it pretty religiously off and on since then. It's single player game. No multiplayer to it at all. It's just about colonizing the galaxy, fighting other civilizations, and it's super, super fun, but very complex and very deep, to the point where if you can choose like the size of the galaxy that you're in, and if you choose like the largest size galaxy, these games could take like weeks to finish, which I started one of those big ones a little over a week ago, and I'm still playing that single game.
Wow.
I probably got half a dozen hours into it already because it's just such a massive fucking map, and you're like slowly working your way across the galaxy, colonizing planets, fighting off fucking aliens, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a game that I've been investing so much time in over the years. But it's funny because there have been sequels to it. There's like a Galactic Civilizations 3, and I think even the fourth one is in development right now. Not even on my radar. 2, to me, is like the perfect game. And it's, even today, a 2006 game looks good for the style of game that it is. I don't need updated graphics. I don't need an updated interface. This game is fucking perfect. And it's something I would actually recommend to somebody like you if you ever like stopped, you know, having like 5 jobs and, you know, being like one of the headleys from Haymon. But it's super, super fun, you know, even as a space nerd and all that. It's just really fun to kind of get into and, you know, do all this shit. But I just kind of had a funny story to go along with this that kind of involved you.
Okay.
So you remember when we went to Thailand? This is the first time I'd ever been to Thailand. I was still fairly new in the squadron at the time. It was you, me, and Liam. Mm-hmm. And we stayed in Utapao in Thailand, and we had that we were in that hotel that was connected to the mall.
Yeah,
like really nice like food there in the hotel and everything. And there was one day we were there for like 3 or 4 days, and one day I came out with you and Liam and walked, you know, downtown and everything with you, but you like didn't see me much the rest of the time.
Yeah,
I was playing Galactic Civilizations 2.
Yeah,
pretty much that whole time.
We were on a hunt for movies. We were on a hunt for DVD nines.
Right.
And yeah, I remember that because that was the place, right? That's where we got, like, we may or may not have collected a lot of you know, movies that
bootleg
were,
DVDs. Let's just say it.
Yeah. That's
enough time has passed. I think we've passed the statute of limitations on buying pirated DVDs in Thailand.
Yep.
So
that, and you know what? They never made it back into the country.
No, never.
They would never cross through the border. So
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah. So one of the reasons why you never saw me much on that trip is because I was in my room playing Galactic Civilizations 2 non-fucking stop.
Jason did a lot of slam clicking when he was TDY.
So, do you remember the first time we went to Rochester for the Harris Radio class, and you guys had your whole like golf outing and everything all taking place that whole week that we were there? And again, you barely saw me. Again, I was in my room playing Galactic Civilizations 2 pretty much that whole time.
Yeah, we didn't see much of you.
No.
Like, there's a great story that I'm not going to share.
Oh, please, for the love of God.
Not going to share of us.
I don't want to get canceled.
Of meeting our first real interaction with Jason.
Yeah, because I was way new to the squadron.
Yeah,
then. I was only like a few months in, I think, at that point.
You had 4 dudes that were, well, it was me, John, TK, and you, right?
I want to say Liam too.
No, Liam wasn't there.
Okay, so it was just
the
4 of us. Okay.
And we had a government vehicle.
Yep.
And we're driving up to Rochester, and poor Jason is in this van with 3 dudes who knew each other, right? And been tripping together and do all this shit, like going on trips, not tripping. And right, these characters, like you had the John, you know, his character. You had me being me, and then you had this Tim Kennedy character who brought his guitar, and like it was a whole fucking thing. And here's Jason sitting in the back of the van, just like, the fuck is going on?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm the type of person where it takes me a long time to come out of my shell with new people, obviously. So that was a really weird experience. I don't play golf, and I know that was half of the reason why you guys wanted to go on that trip was like, this big golf thing planned.
It was a good time of year to go, and apparently we had no idea. Well, when we went up there was a big golf tournament for the LPGA that was finishing up, and we were trying to play that course because of the way it was set up, and we couldn't get on. But there's all kinds of golf up there. We're like, oh fuck, and that's just was one of our pastimes. And Jason apparently of the few things he said to us was one of them was how much he hated golf. We're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So here's the keys to the van, and we'll see you later.
Yeah. So, so yeah, I was playing Galactic Civilizations like that whole time
really funny.
during those 2 trips. Moving on, you mentioned me being back in Facebook jail. Yes. Apparently, Facebook doesn't like the things that I say sometimes. Now, a little bit of alcohol might have been involved in this too, but I was commenting on something, that kid that's on trial in Wisconsin right now. I may have said something to the effect of that dude that's 6 feet under now is probably rethinking, like whacking the kid who had an M16 in his hand with a skateboard. But, something to that effect.
Something to that effect.
Yeah, I something like I'm sure that guy wishes he had stayed home that night instead of gone out and tried to hit the kid with a gun with a skateboard. But,
Right.
Yeah.
So Facebook frowns upon these statements such as these.
Yes. So.
Okay. Now we know.
Right.
Was it Facebook or Meta? Because have you seen the commercials for Meta?
Like real commercials? I've seen the fake stuff where people are making fun of it.
Real commercials that were on last night for fucking all over the NFL games.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like some weird fucking thing where you got a bunch of people that are at like an art museum and they go up and one of the pictures is talking about tripping. Like one of the pictures starts like it's like this tiger starts like kind of scratching at like a wildebeest or something, and then they start talking, and then there's like a kind of music going on. Then there's people going yeah, and then it's fucking weird. And I'm like, can I sell my fucking Facebook stock like right now before like this is like one of those like this doesn't make any. Who is this appealing to? Like really, who is this appealing to?
Well, it's my understanding he's trying to basically just make the whole world a virtual world.
Whatever, dude. That's how many movie plots do we know of?
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
Have been exactly that.
Like people are comparing this this vision that Mark Zuckerberg has to like Ready Player One,
right?
And that whole virtual world that they all fucking live in.
It worked out great though, right? I mean, didn't that work out really well?
Yeah.
It was fucking cool. Everyone was happy.
Oh, I'm sure they were.
People lived in tremendous wealth and
prosperity. You know what I loved, especially about the movie? The fucking girl in that, right?
Good night, Alan. Thanks again.
You know how the fucking girl in that, she's like, "Oh, I'm so hideous."
I've never seen the movie.
Oh, really?
Never seen the movie.
Well, you've read the book though, right?
I read the book.
Okay, so but you know that like the same thing, like the book.
Artemis.
Yeah, where it describes her as like she's got like a scarred up face and all this stuff, and she's like, "Oh, why would anybody want to look at me? I'm so disgusting." And then in the movie, it's like this, attractive young girl with like this little scar right there on her cheek.
Yeah, like
it's
you do.
Yeah, it's like okay,
like
really,
you don't know the struggle. you haven't. Us nerds that had fucking like this acne we had to deal with all through fucking high school and shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
Just, like you have no fucking idea. Like, oh, the scar. Oh my god. Yeah. Nope. Sorry. You don't know. Anyway, it's a whole other thing. I just remembered the thing. Remember I was talking about
like something for your week.
Yeah.
All right, write it down now before you forget again.
I'm going to forget again. Fuck. Oh yeah. It was. Go ahead, keep going.
No, I don't want to break your train of thought. I'm actually enjoying this.
It's
we were talking about meta and the metaverse and like trying to watch the process with Dave and like trying to remember shit it's an experience.
Okay.
Where he starts a thought and then like literally 2 seconds later it's gone.
Dude, we talked about this last week, man. My fucking brain is just not. I do everything I can possibly do to retain my elasticity of my fucking brain, and it's just very difficult. And I think it's a combination of a lot of the fucking drugs that I'm on.
Yeah,
like prescription drugs, not fucking fun drugs. Because if it was fun drugs, I'd be like, yeah, fuck, whatever. It's part of the deal. No,
Right.
It's not fun drugs. It's fucking shit that so I can function like a reasonable human being.
You take 20 pills and you don't even get a buzz.
Facts.
Yep. So, speaking of getting older and things of that nature, so I've been considering something that's kind of been coming into my mind lately, a major life change that I'm actually thinking about doing.
Okay.
As I'm chugging this beer, I'm actually thinking about like quitting alcohol,
Yeah.
like for good. Like
Okay.
not for a month, not even for a year. I'm thinking about like just completely cutting alcohol out of my life again as I'm drinking a beer. No, because I'm going to be 45 next month.
Right.
You're already 45.
I'm 46.
Oh, fuck, that's right. You
Yeah.
were that much older than me. Ugh.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, bro. So, we've talked about this a lot. My mortality is on my mind way more than it probably should be. It occupies so much of my fucking daily thought. And I don't know why. I'm fucking obsessed with it.
Right.
And I'm thinking about like, all right, so if I really want to try to like, prolong my life and put off this, eventual end that we're all going to face, then alcohol is probably one of the bigger contributors to, people expiring pre-90,
Sure.
I guess. So, it's something that I'm considering doing because, quite frankly, I never, ever feel good after I've been drinking. Like, within a couple hours of stopping drinking, like, let's say I have like 3 or 4 beers tonight, and we stop recording around like 8:30 or so. By 10:30, I'm going to feel like shit. My stomach's going to be off. My head's going to start hurting. And then when I wake up in the morning, first of all, I'm going to sleep like shit all night. I'm going to toss and turn. I'm not going to be able to relax. I'm not going to be able to get comfortable. And then I'm going to feel like shit again in the morning, even after just like a few beers.
Right.
And it's not about like low alcohol tolerance. I'm not a fucking lightweight, right? I can handle my liquor-ish. Just I shouldn't be posting on Facebook. But it fucks with my body now. Like, it just makes me feel fucking like garbage.
Right.
And I'm kind of tired of that. And I think, again, as I'm getting older, I need to start thinking more long-term, cutting out shit like this. So I'm honestly strongly considering at the start of next year, like, being done with alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, period.
I can tell you that my my alcohol use is very intermittent.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm going to have this one beer and I might finish it. I'm hoping to finish. I don't want to waste somebody else's beer.
Mm-hmm.
But even at home, like if I have to, like I had the other night when we were playing video games, I had like 3 or 4 beers and
Right. Because you were watching the Penn State game and then we
Right.
rolled right into streaming. So.
And I'm the same way. Like because of the medications I'm on and everything else, like having any alcohol is like really like I just don't feel like it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. I'm just like, there's like a window. Like, because compared to how I used to drink.
Oh, yeah. No, we used to drink like fucking crazy back in the day.
Like, I don't even come close to that shit anymore. So, like, these days, if I'm very deliberate and, like, when I want to have, like, oh, I feel like just having a little bit just because I feel like having a beer. Like, I feel like having a beer. And then it's over.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, so like this will have zero impact on me. Like, there will be no like that what you're talking about. Like, and I'm with you. If I have 2 of these, then we'll start having some like gastric impact or whatever.
Yeah.
But otherwise, just one of these, I can enjoy this or not. That's the beauty of this, right? You can do whatever the fuck you want, really.
Sure.
If you want to stop doing that, then you just fucking stop.
Right.
That's the beauty of it. Like, and if you decide you want to start it up again, then fuck, you start it up again.
Sure. And I would never say never. I'd never like start like 2022 and be like, I'm never touching alcohol again, because that would be stupid. Because at some point you're gonna.
Yeah. It's just like, hey, you know what? I don't think I want to do this anymore. Like Forrest Gump style.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm a bit tired now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
just walk away from it. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's not like we didn't live it up in our younger days. We talk about traveling stories in our old squadron. There's an infamous story that anybody that we ever flew with knows about the time that me and Stephanie Marshall killed 12 pitchers of sangria within a few hours.
It's the slap story.
That is the slap story. With Logan like calling up, I think it was House, being like, "Get me out of here," type of thing. So it was. I used to be able to put him back in the day.
What the 5 fingers say to the face?
And then
slap.
And then I'd wake up the next morning and be like, yeah, I don't feel all that great, but let's go. Let's see what today's adventure brings.
Listen, those days, we were lucky to survive those days.
Yeah.
Like I had quite a run. And that's why these days I have like there's zero peer pressure at all. Like when people are like, "Oh, don't," I'm like, "No, sorry."
Yeah, it was prevalent back then.
Oh, well, yeah. And I was part of the peer pressuring.
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
for a lot of it. And listen, it was just these days I'm like, nah, I just don't. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, and if I like tried to kill 12 pitchers of sangria now, that might
die.
kill me. Yeah, that would kill me.
You would absolutely die. So we don't have the livers. We don't like that's part of getting older. But yeah, I support whatever you want to do, man.
Yeah, so I mean, again, I love having a couple of drinks or 5 while we're doing the podcast here, but it's I don't know if it's worth it anymore. So I need to figure something out, but
it's not worth fucking it's not worth feeling like shit. It's just not when you can prevent it.
Yeah. And
right?
True. And my goal is still to hit 90. That's the end game for Jason Roskam. I want to make it to 90 years old, and then every day after that is a fucking party.
Absolutely.
Like, fuck yeah, I made it another day.
Woohoo! I'm with you, man.
And then I'll be like, walking down the street with my walker, like, snorting coke and like taking some edibles and like fucking tripping like balls. But, I'd have earned it at that point.
Dude, in fucking 45 years, who the hell knows how old we're going to be living to at that point,
Hopefully.
Better living through fucking science. I'm all for it.
Yep. So anyway, I've done enough talking. What about you?
Yeah, where's Ivo G, man? He should be in here giving you shit for the length of your fucking week. Speaking of, I had almost the whole week off. We kind of alluded to it. It was great. It really made me wish that I was wealthy enough where I didn't have to go back to work. Because it was nice, like, what do I have to do today? What do I have to do today?
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot. Like, and it was just really, really nice. Like, what do I want to do today? Oh, I want to do this, this, and this. Okay, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And if I don't do that, like, I eliminated the pressure of having to do something and did stuff that I wanted to do.
Yeah, and it was nice. We got to do some Twitch streaming,
right?
Which was nice.
Yep.
We haven't done that in forever.
Yeah, it was liberating, and what it does, and this is what time off is supposed to do, right? It's supposed to help you. Look, we have to work, right? This is part of the human condition, right? We have to work, we have to provide. This is what we do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you have time off, I think you're supposed to enjoy it.
Yes.
You're supposed to use it to reset, as opposed to what I use it for, and that's to fill it with other shit and stay incredibly busy to keep the demons at bay.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk about life changes and stuff like that. There's always this period of reflection for something like that, and it was nice. It was nice having that time off.
So has it had you reconsidering a lot of the extracurricular shit that you?
I've already been working on that. There's some stuff that I just can't. Like, there's things that are just going to take longer to downsize from. It just is. Like, there's some responsibilities that are just you just can't turn your back on and walk away from.
Sure.
Like, they're sadly I take on responsibility that's larger and has a larger impact if I left.
Right.
So
I'm assuming you're referring to like lodge stuff and
some other things. So anyway, it's happening though, and it's it's good. If anybody that's out there, when you get your time off, at least take a moment to realize, like, okay, don't be like from 1 to 2 o'clock I'm going to be doing this, and from 3 to 4 I'm going to be doing that. Like, just fucking wake up and don't do shit. Go outside, fucking, you know what, there's some leaves in the yard. Maybe I'll rake for a 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll bugger off and go do something else,
Yeah.
Go do a shelf check at the fucking, the store or whatever.
Like Home Depot?
Yeah. Well, I'll get to Home Depot in a minute. Or like watch football, so in the chat, I think there were some people that jumped into the episode last week or in the post game where we were talking a lot of football stuff, and they were like, what is happening?" Right? So and in fairness, we save our football talk for the post show because not everyone wants to sit here and talk about football, right?
Yeah. We started off as a Star Wars podcast. That's the audience that we built up. So a lot of them don't really want to hear us talking about football for 20 minutes mid-show.
Yes. So there you go. We don't beat football to death. But in the chat, our favorite troll, Bronco Fett, is mentioning about these fucking clowns.
Michigan.
These clowns.
Wow. He almost hit me.
I know. I would have hit you if I wanted to. So,
wow.
Go on. So here's the thing. If you're a fan of the Michigan, college football team, right? And you're looking at that win against Penn State and going like, "Yes, we were the superior team." Remember that you went into that game as a top 10 team playing against a team that was in the AP wasn't even ranked, right? Or no, I think was 25th in the AP but was unranked in the college football playoff. Has a quarterback that was still not 100% and should have been like, if you were that much of a superior team at one point during the week, the line for that game was Penn State actually was giving Michigan like a point, right? And then that line flipped where Michigan was giving Penn State 2.5 points. So that's not dominating.
No, that's close.
That's not the fucking bettors going like, "Oh wow, Michigan's a much better team than Penn State.
Right.
Like, we're going to give them a touchdown." No. That's not. That's, hey, these are equal teams, and we're going to bet this close.
Equal teams like the Lions and the Steelers.
Yeah, dead equal apparently. and here's the thing. Like I knew it was going to be a close game. I in my heart of hearts, I knew that Penn State was going to play like they played against Ohio State and have a good game. And honestly, what pissed me off, if anything, Penn State came back enough in that game. Like, they had this great series where they were like going for it on fourth down and like, getting excited. Like, holy fuck, they made it on this other fourth down and had this fucking fake and now I'm getting all pumped up, right?
Right.
Only to be fucking let down and to crash after like have all this to like just build up and then fucking get crashed down. And that's the fucking worst part of it. It's like, damn you for getting my hopes up. To think that, man, we're gonna beat this fucking team.
Yeah.
Because we had the lead and then gave up that touchdown. I'm gonna leave it at this. You're not gonna beat Ohio State. And
that's always your fallback. Every year it's like, you're gonna lose to Ohio State, so fuck you.
And have you beaten Ohio State?
Not in the Harbaugh era, from what I understand.
From what you understand, exactly. And you're not going to beat him again. And oh, by the way, you're also not going to make the Big Ten championship. So have fun with that. Moving on. I was getting my hair cut, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the girl that cut my hair, apparently she had heard something on Facebook that just absolutely blew me away. Blew me the fuck away. And apparently,
because we know everything on Facebook is true.
Everything is true. And she said, and I quote, she said that she saw that they were signing some bill that basically changed the Mother's Day from Mother's Day into like birthing parent day or something,
God.
right? And like that in myself, like, what? Like, I didn't understand that. And then like also in that, instead of breastfeeding, they were changing it to chest feeding. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Chest feeding.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there like, this is, oh my fucking God, you've got to be kidding me. And as I'm sitting there, I'm like, who is this catering to? Like, what special interest group is going like, chest feeding. Yes, we won. Like we absolutely like breastfeeding was absolutely fucking just oh god, disgusting. Chest feeding, way better. Like, I don't even want the implication of nipples. It should just be chest feeding. Like, who wins? Who wins in that scenario? And I kind of find out, like, I go back and look at Snopes, and Snopes says it apparently was fake.
Yeah.
But for the drive from getting my haircut back home to fucking checking the internet, I'm like, are you gotta be fucking kidding me? And thankfully, I told Kathy, and she's like, get on the internet and check that. That can't be right.
Yeah. No, it's the thing we talked about this last week, I think, where it's like one jerk off on Twitter, is offended by the whole concept of Mother's Day, and then a legit news organization is people on Twitter are outraged over Mother's Day. It's like because this one fucking jerk off is like, a Mother's Day offends me because of
chest feeding though. Yeah. Chest feeding. Because this is what I said there. Like, again, I haven't looked it up yet, and I'm sitting there finishing my haircut. I'm like we just installed these rooms for breastfeeding in our building, right? Now it's in federal code. If you have a federal building, you're supposed to have a room so that they can go and breastfeed.
We don't have a breastfeeding room in my building.
Yeah, you're supposed to. So when we had we did a renovation in the building, so that brought it to code.
Okay.
That's the thing. So I'm like, again, this is me in my stupid fucking brain. Just the fact that and it's chest feeding. Then I'm like, we just put this room up. We're gonna have to change the signs. Like, this is signs. Like, it's a breastfeeding room.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to change it to chest feeding room again. It's not true. But just the idea of it just absolutely fucking floored me.
Yeah. Well, just don't kid yourself to think that there aren't people out there who believe that should be the way. But thankfully, there is some sanity left in the world. Not for much longer.
Very little. Very little.
I don't think it's going to last too much longer.
Penis so small.
Yeah. No, trust me. We're all going to be just like, everybody's going to be genderless. There's going to be no gender whatsoever. You can't refer to any body parts or whatever. That's all coming, but we're not there yet.
A chest is a body part, right? Chest. What's the difference between chest and breast?
Do you really want to go there now, Dave?
What's the difference? What's the difference between chest and breast?
Because transgender men don't have breasts,
yes.
But they are birthing people.
But
that is where this is coming from.
I don't understand. Obviously, I don't understand.
It's best that we don't get into this.
Chest feeding should be a band name. It should be a heavy metal band name.
We totally should steal that.
Chest feeding.
Yes.
Somebody get on fucking
trademark that shit.
Yeah, get on Twitter right now and fucking chest feeding. Save that Twitter handle.
Anyway, can we please pivot away from this before things are said that get people canceled?
Listen, I'm not the cancel guy. Like, that's your neck of the woods. But that shit, I just couldn't help myself. Chest feeding. Anyway, so you alluded to Home Depot.
Yes, only because I saw it in your notes.
Yeah. So Home Depot has failed me.
We're gonna go to Home Depot. Maybe a Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know if we'll have enough time.
I don't have enough time. So yesterday, before the football game, Kathy wants to go do some yard work. Right, she's pulling up some stuff and doing some gardening and wants to rake up some shit. I'm like, okay, and we didn't have any of those paper leaf bags, whatever. We were out of them. I'm like, all right, I'll run to Home Depot and pick up some. I get to Home Depot and walk in the store, and it's November. It's mid-November. There's leaves on the trees, right? It's not an unrealistic expectation that people would still be raking leaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are people that might even be using leaf blowers and raking and putting them into bags and putting them on the street. Like, it's not December, it's not snowing,
right?
So
Yeah, we're still technically in fall.
Right.
Fall named after the leaves falling
Right.
from the trees.
Like looking out the window, there's plenty of leaves.
Yeah.
I passed a bunch of leaves going to Home Depot. So why, when I go into Home Depot, is there no fucking leaf bags? Why, when I go into the store, am I not only inundated with fucking Christmas, but there's not a fucking rake to be found unless I go all the way into the fucking thing. No, they completely shut down the fall. They're like, nope, we're done with fall. It's all Christmas all the time now. No, literally.
I'm shocked they didn't have Valentine's Day stuff up yet.
Yeah, right? No, that's the other section. That's like where the automotive stuff is now. Then it'll start working its way towards the door.
Mm-hmm.
But I walk in and I'm like, I kind of expected some fall stuff to be right in the door because that's usually what it is. Like you get in through the breezeway and then there's like some shit right there or by the registers. Went through the entire building. Asked the guy, like, no, they're done. I went outside. Like, oh, you can get contractor bags. Like, no, I don't want contractor bags. I want fucking the leaf bags.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Like,
None.
clearly you should have come in July if you wanted that stuff.
Obviously. None to be had. Home Depot was completely done with fucking fall. Like, so Home Depot looks at us as a customer as like, well, we are forcing you now to think about Christmas. Like, we don't give a shit about what season it is.
Yeah.
We just want you to fucking shop for Christmas. I'm like, all right, well, fuck you. I end up going to Lowe's. I don't like Lowe's.
Right.
I have issues with Lowe's. One of my biggest issue is you can't. For me personally, I'm like a lumberyard guy, right? I want to go into a place like it's a hardware store, like, and I have ideas of where things are. Lowe's is laid out like a department store. It's not laid out like a lumberyard, and that irritates me because like things aren't in logical places, right? You know, like I'm trying to find like here I need screws for this. Why is fucking wood screws nowhere near wood? Like, not even close.
Right.
Like, the other side of the fucking store. Like, why? Why not put screws near the shit that you're screwing into? Why wouldn't you not do that? No, can't do that. No, we got to put it over here with all the fucking other bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Can't fucking stand it. But I walk into Lowe's. Lo and behold, what do you think is right in front of me when I walk in?
Fall bags?
Fall bags, a big fucking box of fall bags, and rakes. Go figure.
Yeah.
Because it's fall.
Mm-hmm. And see, I'm curious, what motivation does a company like Home Depot have to push the Christmas early? Like, I understand, like, department stores and like Sears. Is Sears still a thing? Are they still in business or are they, like, dead?
I don't know if they even had that. Like, the only Sears that I knew that was still a freestanding store was the one in Deffert, and that's a Dick's Sporting Goods now.
Well, whatever the current equivalent is of a store like that. Like, I can understand them wanting to push Christmas earlier and earlier, you know, kind of, you know, get sales out there and get more traffic and whatnot. But Home Depot? Like, why? Why? What motivation do you have to, like, kick all the fall shit to the side and start putting up the winter and the Christmas shit and all that?
If I'm going to Home Depot to fucking get something so I can fix, like, I'm looking at tile, and I have to walk through the aisle to go past all your fucking, like, here's the tools that are on sale for Christmas, and here's like your random gloves and shit like that. I'm like, okay, fine, that's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you would still think, hey, how about, is there anything to, like, clear ice?
Right.
Is there any, like, no, there's nothing. There's no room for it.
Yeah.
Because it's all chock full of fucking Christmas shit. It's just that Home Depot, and it may just be that Home Depot. Maybe it's just that manager. But I
can't see that. Yeah,
I doubt
it's got to be a whole company thing.
I don't like Lowe's. When I go in there, I just don't like the layout, and it just bothers me.
Yet,
but
they had what you needed.
I walked in there and had exactly what I fucking needed, and I couldn't stand it. I had to go in there. I'm like, God damn you, Lowe's! Damn you for having exactly what I wanted right in front of me. And I'll fucking go through a self-checkout and fucking use my military discount on the phone. Bing! Fucking sign through. God damn it! And they have veterans parking at Lowe's. Damn it! I don't want to be a Lowe's person.
Sounds like it might be time to make a change.
Fuck.
It's good stuff.
Doesn't mean I have to like it.
No.
But there may be a change coming.
I can appreciate that. So is
Really
that
like-
it?
I like the rigid tools though. I really do.
What are we talking about exactly?
Rigid tools. It's a tool
Ribbed
line.
for your pleasure?
It's
Those kind of
it's
tools?
a tool line for fucking. You know what? You don't know shit about tools. Never mind. You don't know shit about tools. Penis so small.
Wow. It's fucked up. Are you done? Is your week over?
I'm done.
All right. Well, I think this is a great time to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
And then come back and talk about our main topic.
The Xbox.
The Xbox.
The thing we haven't mentioned for like a half an hour. Oh,
And-
fuck. Like an hour.
And Halo. That's the Halo.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering what you were doing with that.
All right. So we're going to take a very quick break and be right back after this word from our sponsors. Do you want to pee first or?
You can go first.
All right. Fuck. I got a major roadblock here.
Yeah, because when I get back from peeing, we'll be able to go right away, as opposed to you dick dancing around.
You're so mean tonight.
I fucking Home Depot. I like. So here's the thing with Home Depot, right? Back in the day, Home Depot used to be, it was another much smaller chain. That the Homer guy that you see for Home Depot, he was like the mascot for this like much smaller chain of hardware stores. And we had local hardware stores all over the place. I'm sure everybody remembers that. Like you would go to like what I guess the equivalent these days anymore is an Ace Hardware, right? But the days of the local hardware store where if you wanted to go get some nails or you needed a fucking 1/4-inch bolt, that was quick.
That's what she said.
Penis so small. It's a really good way to get your ass kicked.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Don't you need to use the bathroom or something?
You know I rub my balls all in that hat. Like several times. Like in the summertime too, so they were good and fucking moist.
I mean, it's too late at this point. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Does it smell? It should smell. I mean, honestly, it was pretty ripe. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway. Keep that in mind. Next time you decide to put something like that on your head.
He would have rubbed his balls on this too. I could totally see him doing that. All right, let's get caught up on the chat. Yeah, I also wouldn't be surprised if he pulled a fucking knife out on me, but I'm going to keep doing this. So, all fact, the veterans parking is better than the handicap. Nice. The app is worth the trip for Lowe's. Okay. Dave can't stand Home Depot while Lowe's just makes sense. All right. So Dave and Vickers are opposites when it comes to Home Depot and Lowe's. Okay, Don, I think you're still in the chat. This fucking Michigan hat that you guys bought us, this thing is like a fucking child small. It's like crushing my head right now. I'd love to keep wearing this over the course of the show, but I don't know if I could take it. Like, I'm already getting a headache. I've had it on for 30 seconds, and I can already feel it like a vice grip on my fucking head. I guess that's why we give it to Vader.
Why is the train so fucking loud right now?
I don't know. All right, I got to take this off because... Oh,
Besides me rubbing my balls in it, it should itch too.
yeah, well, Lunar Girl brings up a good point. Because of my ego, that's probably why the hat feels so tight on top of my big head. But, yeah. No, it feels like a child small fucking size hat. It's like a vice grip on my fucking head. It's like, God damn.
It's got a nice marker lift too.
Yeah.
Now, just to tie a bow on the Home Depot bit.
We're still on that?
Well, I didn't get to finish my thing.
Okay.
Because of, as a kid, like especially going places with my dad or whatever, to lumber yards, Even like now when I go to Home Depot, I park on the lumber side and I go in that door.
Okay.
Like I always go through the wood section, like the lumber section. Even when I go to Home Depot, like Lowe's isn't set up for that.
Right.
Like Lowe's, the lumber is kind of like way off.
Lowe's is kind of laid out like a Walmart almost to me.
Yeah, it is. It's laid out like a goddamn department store.
Yeah.
And it's just it doesn't feel like a hardware store to me. It just doesn't. And that's why when I'm in there, I'm just like, just don't. It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
But god damn it, I walked right in there and had that shit right fucking in front of me.
How dare they have exactly what I want, where I want it.
Yep. So apparently, when we ran that video, the sound was like crazy loud.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So should we just do the regular 30-second countdown this time? Alan's not in the chat anymore, so he won't be offended.
Home Depot discussion.
So we can see the Xbox. I don't know if you can really see it that well, but that is the original Xbox right there. Motherfucker. All right. We'll figure it out.
You all right there?
I'm fine.
All right. Yes, we will do the standard 30 seconds. We will work on the volume on Alan's videos so that we're not hurting people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do that right after the train goes by. God, Jesus Christ. It's like they elevated the track more or something. Like
Yeah, I
something
don't know.
changed.
I don't know.
They changed something in the Matrix.
To where sound carries farther.
Or there's a house missing.
I don't know.
Changed something.
Yeah.
They changed something.
I took the train into Philly this week. We had a person leave the full-time side, so we did a luncheon at Fogo de Chao
Oh, nice.
in Philly. And I just took the train in.
Nice.
You know, they're like, yeah, we'll meet up on like the 70-73 corner, and then we'll carpool with like a couple cars. I'm like, I'm going to drive home and just get on the fucking train and then walk 2 blocks, and I'll be there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I won't have to drive into Philly.
And you didn't have to change trains. You get right off at 8th and
Yeah.
Market.
No, you get off on 2 stops after that, 12th and Locust.
Okay.
And then it's like Fogo is like just like 2 blocks up and 1 block over. It was so easy. And then like I was one of the first ones there, and everybody else is like complaining like, oh, I had to fucking pay for all this parking and blah blah blah. And it was such a nightmare driving in. I'm like, I didn't have a problem at all.
Yeah. It is convenient having the train right here. Yeah. Look, I'm extremely familiar with how sound travels in cooler air. We've been doing a show in this studio for 4 years. We're familiar how what it sounds like when it's cold. It's usually not that loud.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's usually not that loud.
What year did we start? Was it 17 or 18?
17. This is
So-
our 4th year.
So it's going to be 5 years in May?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Has it really been that long?
Uh-huh. Yeah, this is episode 221, dude.
Yeah, and we've skipped a bunch of weeks. Wow. That's fucking wild. Anyway.
All right, ready for 30?
Sure.
Let's do it.
And we're back! And there's another fucking train!
I bet you they cut down a tree or something.
Yeah, because it's loud again.
Yeah.
It was probably going in another direction, but we're dealing with issues with the trains here in my neighborhood. They're going by awfully frequent, and they're especially loud today for some reason. I don't know what the deal is.
I think one of your neighbors cut down a tree. I think
Maybe.
that's what's changed.
It's like
telling
used to
you.
be blocking the sound, and now
Something
it's
changed in the Matrix.
All right, fair enough. So, our main topic today, the Xbox, the original, and Halo, released 20 fucking years ago today. It's so funny because I remember that time like it was fucking yesterday. Because I remember when this whole thing was announced, and as it got closer and closer, like all the launch titles that were being released for it. And for me, I was a huge fucking console gamer at this point in my life. In the late 90s and early 2000s, like I was fucking just, yeah, I was fucking all over console games. And the excitement was there, man. Like it was all over the place to the point where, and we're going to talk about this, I went to a midnight launch of the original Xbox. I bought the Xbox, I bought like 3 or 4 games with it, and it was a big fucking deal for me. So yeah, we're gonna get into this and talk a lot about it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, so we haven't really gotten into it much, but what is your history with the original Xbox? You never owned one, right?
Never.
Did you know anybody that had one? Like, would you ever play one during the day? Like, because the original Xbox lasted from 2001 to 2004, I want to say, before the 360 came out.
Nope. The only time I played an original Xbox, I played a couple of times when John had brought one into the ComSec office, and we just played it for just so I could say I played it.
Yeah.
And then we went back to playing PlayStation 2. But there was that legitimately never had one in my house, never roomed with anybody that had one. It just was never a thing.
Yeah. Now, you bring up a good point, too, and that's something that we shouldn't really shy away from, is the fact that at the time, the PS2 had already been out, maybe a handful of months at this point. I can't remember when PS2 came out. Somebody in the chat look that up and let us know when the PlayStation 2 came out. But obviously, the PlayStation 2 was fucking huge because the PlayStation 1 was big.
Yeah.
And when the PS2 came out, it was like a fucking global phenomenon.
Yeah.
At this point.
And I had a PlayStation 1. I had a PlayStation 1 when it came
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, and like I had a shitload of PlayStation 1 games. I really enjoyed the PlayStation 1, even though I never considered myself like a Sony loyalist. I was more of a Nintendo guy for the longest time, and then when Xbox came out, I was an Xbox guy when it came to console gaming. But I had a PS1, and I eventually got a PS2 way later in its cycle. And I understand and appreciate the impact the PS2 had, though it wasn't nearly as technically powerful as the original Xbox. It had the fucking library. The PS2, I want to say it's one of the highest selling systems of all time.
I believe it.
You know, more than the PS3 or 4 or any of that stuff. Like the PS2 was, I think at the time it was the most successful console ever. I think one of the Nintendo portables eventually overtook it. But yeah, it was fucking phenomenal. So that's what the Xbox was up against at this point. So, and I think Microsoft knew that. They knew that when they announced this, and they knew that when the game or when the system officially launched, that it wasn't going to overtake the PlayStation in a day or even in a year or 2 years. They knew this was a process. And I feel like we've sort of watched the development of the Microsoft console over the years. And I think to me, I really feel like they hit their peak with the 360, but you know, we'll get into that as we go along. But to kind of get back to the original Xbox, was released November 15th, 2001, and it had a shitload of launch titles. Like, of all of the consoles that have been released over the years, especially around this time in like the 2000, 2001 time frame, launch titles were pretty few and far between. Like, it was like 3 or 4 games sometimes when a console would launch. Whereas when the Xbox came out, it had, I want to say like fucking 12 launch titles, something like that. It was something pretty ridiculous. But obviously the original Halo came boxed with it. And that, well, not boxed with it, but it was a launch title that you had to pay extra for. Which ended up being huge. It was like the most popular game on the console by far. And it was really a pioneer for first-person shooters. I mean, we had seen some shooters have some level of success on consoles. GoldenEye for the N64 being like the true first console first-person shooter that gained any kind of notoriety, success, and all that. And then I know on the PlayStation and the PS2, there were some okay shooters like your Medal of Honors. I think maybe even like one of the first Call of Duty games had come out at that point. But you know, shooters were still in their fledgling stages.
Yeah, it was still, they were developing.
Yeah. Whereas Halo, like, completely, changed first-person shooters on consoles forever.
Yeah.
And I wish you would watch that YouTube video, because there is such a history and a background just in Halo itself. But we'll kind of get to that. But we'll just talk about the console to start. Some features that this console had that had never been seen or thought about before: a built-in hard drive, which we kind of take for granted now. Like every console that comes out, starting with the Xbox 360, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, all that, they all have hard drives, and we just kind of take that for granted. The original Xbox was the first one to come with that as part of the system, and as something that the developers had access to as they were developing games, and it allowed them more storage and then some other capabilities to help them make bigger games, bigger worlds.
Yeah, and honestly, that capability, developing it kind of eliminated this memory card thing that you had to have for, like, so as a PS2 guy, right? I would have to have, like, if I'm playing NCAA and I had certain rosters that were on there, right? I'd have to have the memory card with those rosters on it. Or, my Tomb Raider saves, I'd have to have certain save points on that particular memory card.
Yeah.
Having internal memory built into that eliminates the need for any of that stuff. So it was huge.
Yeah, because, and it's so funny too, when we first started with gaming, with the NES and the Genesis and all of that, any games that would require saves had those internal batteries, right? Like The Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy, all those types of games, they had those internal battery backups that they had those saves that you could save on them. But then when the transition went over to CDs and then eventually DVDs, you can't save onto those.
Right.
They're not rewritable discs. So you had to have those memory cards.
Yep.
Like, that was the only way you could fucking save. Until Microsoft's like, no, fuck this. Why don't we just put hard drives in these things like we do for fucking computers, like we have been for the last, decade and a half.
Yeah, and if you look at it, it looks like a desktop computer.
Yeah.
Right? Of the time, think about what year was it?
2001.
So in 2001, yeah, this is about the size of what a desktop PC looked like. You go and buy yourself a Gateway computer. This is probably what you would get.
Yeah.
Gateway was still around 2001, right?
In 2001, yeah. But they were about to be overtaken by Dell. They became the mainstream fucking PC distributors for several years after that. But, and you make a good point, because one of the things that Microsoft was really going after with this console was the PC audience, because you hear about the PC gamer, oh god, what's the fucking term that the PC gamers always use? I can't remember. But the shit that they always had to themselves, online gaming, that was exclusively a PC privilege, right? Hard drives, things like that. That was exclusively like a PC thing. But Microsoft decided, hey, we're going to bring some of these concepts to a fucking home console.
Right.
And they did that between the built-in hard drive and then with Xbox Live that they introduced a little bit later on into the console's development cycle. That was the first truly fully fleshed out online platform for a home console.
Right.
They had tried it a little bit with the Sega Dreamcast and the PlayStation 2, but they were not nearly as successful as Microsoft on the original Xbox with Xbox Live.
Well, here's the thing. With the Xbox and
the PC Master Race. Thank you, Isaac.
Yeah. I'm not jumping anything. The PS2 had this online capability, but it was like peer to peer almost. You weren't getting like this big online experience like you would with Xbox Live, but it was free.
Right, and that was the difference. Like, Microsoft made you pay.
Right.
But what you got in return was pretty good.
Yeah, but was it good enough? So here's the thing. Like, as a PS2 guy, what I was playing, like, with the Chuck Brinzers and all these other guys, our big game was NCAA football. Right. That's what we would get online and play. And with the PS2 being plugging into it with Cat 5, that was all we needed it to do. We didn't need to have this big huge gaming experience. We just needed to be able to play online.
Yeah.
And that's what we were presented with, and it was free. So we're only incurring one cost, and that was the cost of the game.
Right.
We weren't having this frequency cost of a subscription,
Yeah.
which
they've gone all in on between
now,
Microsoft and PlayStation and everything else.
oh my god, subscriptions are just fucking awful. I can't. That's a whole nother. I don't even get into.
Well, in the context of the consoles, and especially with the first iteration of Xbox Live, you know, that debuted with Halo 2, and the matchmaking, again, for what we had on the consoles at the time, was revolutionary. It was not like anything we had ever seen before. It was, you know, they would put you in a fucking lobby, and they would match you up with, you know, 9, 11 other people, and you'd play in these big fucking multiplayer maps, and it was fucking great. And another innovation that Microsoft made at this time was they had the built-in Ethernet adapter in here.
Right.
And they required you, if you wanted to use their online service, you had to have a broadband connection. It was not like the Dreamcast that was a dial-up, because you got to remember, 2001, a majority of internet users were still using dial-up.
Yep.
Very few of us were using either DSL or cable modems at this point. It was starting to get some heavy adoption, but we weren't quite there yet.
Yeah.
Like, this was still the time of America Online for most people.
For a lot of people, yeah. I mean, I lived on base in 2001, and that was something that it was kind of a necessity in the house. It was like, yeah, we're going to have a cable modem.
Yeah.
That's something we are going to have in this house.
Mm-hmm.
So I ran a nice long cord to where I wanted to fucking play the PlayStation, to be able to play online and be able to play NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
That was fucking deal breaker. It has to happen.
Right, because I remember when this first came out, I actually was still on dial-up myself. Like, I didn't have DSL or cable when the Xbox first came out, because I'm trying to, like, think of a way that I can sort of trick the console into thinking I had a broadband. I'm working all these things in my head, like, okay, I can plug an Ethernet in there and then have the Ethernet go to a hub, have the hub go to my computer, have that running as a proxy server with my dial-up connection, and maybe it would think that I had a broadband connection.
Right. Meanwhile, you're stepping down each fucking plug.
Oh yeah.
There. It's like getting worse and worse and worse.
Mm. But Microsoft had that foresight for as much shit as they were getting at the time, because you got to remember too, Microsoft as a company was not doing well, right? Well, okay, I mean they've always been doing well. Don't get me wrong, but we were coming off of Windows ME Millennium Edition. You remember that fucking shit?
Oh God, yeah.
Windows 2000 and all that. Like, as operating systems, things were not looking very well for them.
Yeah, because Microsoft decided, like, okay, we have this thing called Windows NT that works really, really well for fucking networking and infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and basically nuke that and develop this whole new thing with this Active Directory, and we'll be able to do all this great stuff. It's going to be great. And yeah, conceptually, it would have been great, except it had all the fucking Windows bullshit in it.
Yeah.
Which, let's face it, Microsoft products and Windows in general are plagued with overhead. Like, it is very, very system usage intensive.
Though
for anything that they're running.
I do think that they have gotten better at that over the last, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I beg to differ with this fucking machine that's sitting right here.
Okay.
I can tell you that with the power that this machine has, the fact that Windows still bogs it down like it does is fucking a travesty.
Yeah.
An absolute travesty.
No, I hear you.
This is not a cheap piece of shit laptop. This is a good machine, and Windows, it's too much overhead.
Yeah. So, I mean, when Microsoft announced this, too, there was a lot of reservations. People are like, Microsoft is going to try to make a fucking gaming console? Are you kidding me?
Right.
And I know that's one of the reasons why people had a lot of hesitancy. We had the PS2 that was already doing phenomenally at this point. I think you still probably couldn't find a fucking PS2 to save your life at this point. And Microsoft was very unproven in this realm, but I think that I'd like to think that they knew what they were doing when it came to laying the foundation, knowing that this console itself may not be the one that ends up having that mainstream breakthrough, but it's
Right.
at least going to lay that foundation and kind of set the stage for what they're going to do later on. But it still had an incredible library of games. We talked about, again, these fucking dozen or 18, 20 games that came out at launch. I'll just talk about a few of them here. Halo, obviously, a phenomenal game that we're going to get into some more detail later. You had the Project Gotham Racing. I know racing games were huge at the time. PlayStation had its Gran Turismo, so this was sort of Microsoft's answer. And at the time, this Project Gotham Racing looked fucking phenomenal. A lot of people were really big into the Shrek game, even though it was like a licensed game based on this movie character. The graphics at the time, and that was the thing Microsoft was really pushing, was the fucking graphics. So they were pushing the system specs hard, and there was a Dead or Alive game that were released with this, and just a ton of games. So it already, right from the get-go, had a pretty impressive gaming lineup. So I just want to talk about some of the games that I got at launch, which I still have to this day.
You got all those games at launch?
Well, two of these games. So obviously I got Halo. Like everybody who bought an Xbox bought Halo. I think I read a stat somewhere in early 2002 that said more copies of Halo had been sold than Microsoft Xbox consoles had been sold, which, wrap your head around that one. So more people bought the Halo game than actually owned the console. But I digress. One of the things that I bought was this guy. This is still that original copy that I had, Tony Hawk 2X. Because, I don't know if you remember, late 90s, like 99, 2000, 2001, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was fucking huge. It was huge.
Huge. It was. It was one of the biggest video games.
Yeah, and it was incredible. Who'd have thought just a game about skateboarding would be so fucking fun? But the guys over at fucking Activision, like
Well, that was the
they
thing.
nailed
there
it.
There was 2 or 3 skate games that were out there that were like Tony Hawk just stepped on them and surpassed them.
Yeah.
So well, let's face it, Tony Hawk, like, it wasn't just the gameplay, but it was also like the soundtrack and everything.
Yeah.
It was an entire game package that made Tony Hawk like the skate game.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it was the baseline for a lot of like fucking games that come out later. Like, even think about how the NBA games are.
Yep.
With how their soundtrack is based into the fucking game. Tiger Woods, when the Tiger Woods golf games came out, was a lot of the same.
Madden.
things.
We're going to talk about Madden here in a little bit. But, this Tony Hawk game, because Tony Hawk 1 and 2 came out for the original PlayStation. Massive, massive fucking games. This Tony Hawk 2X was a conglomeration of Tony Hawk 1, 2, and a bunch of other bonus features that Activision like repackaged with updated graphics. And that Tony Hawk 2X was fucking phenomenal. And that was one of the launch games that I bought. Obviously, I bought Halo. I also bought this little game called Fusion Frenzy. I don't know if you can see it on the.
Never heard of it.
So, I wanted a game that Kristen and I could play together, because you got to remember too, Kristen and I were living together by ourselves in Stockton, California at the time. We had no family, no friends within a 3-hour drive of us. So we were literally by ourselves in the middle of Northern California. And I wanted to get something that her and I could play together. I also got the Oddworld Munch's Odyssey. She loved the original Oddworld games on the PlayStation, so I got that for her. Again, single-player game. And I wanted something that we could do together. Fusion Frenzy was a party game. It kind of in the same vein of like the Mario Party games a little bit. And believe it or not, that game is so fucking fun when you have 2 or more people playing it in these competitive like party games. Kristen and I played the shit out of that game over the course of several years. To this day, we'll still get together every once in a while and play games of Fusion Frenzy, because it's a Microsoft game. It's available on Game Pass right now. If you have an Xbox One or an Xbox X, you can get onto Game Pass right now and play fucking Fusion Frenzy.
That's really funny.
Yeah, so fun little party game that Kristen and I played the shit out of. And there's certain characters, like you pick your character, and we each had our own fucking character. My guy his name was Dub, D-U-B. And he always had these funny quotes whenever he'd win. He's like, "Oh, I'm the man," But good shit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah.
Bronco Fett was saying that the Darth Maul was an unlockable character.
Oh,
in
that's
there.
right. Was it in 2X? I can't remember which game it was, but yeah, I do remember that Darth Maul was a character in one of the Tony Hawk games.
That's fucking dope.
It might have been Tony Hawk 3, which, by the way,
and there
Tony Hawk 3
there it is.
came out for the original Xbox, so I ended up getting that as soon as it came out. And speaking of Bronco Fett, he mentioned in the pre-chat that a shitload of really good Star Wars games came out for the original Xbox.
Right.
And he was not lying. The Battlefront games, Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront games, came out for the Xbox at the same time they came out for the PlayStation. Knights of the Old Republic, when that first came out in, I want to say 2002, 2003 timeframe, it was an Xbox exclusive, Xbox and PC, but it did not come out for the PS2, ever. Like, it was an Xbox thing, and it was a massively successful game. You mentioned the Obi-Wan Kenobi book. There was an Obi-Wan Kenobi game that came out around that same time. I don't know if it was actually based on the book or if it was its own standalone story, but there was an Obi-Wan Kenobi game that came out for the Xbox. There was the fucking Clone Wars game that came out for the Xbox. So much really, really good Star Wars stuff came out. This one game I had to pull aside. This was a bundle that came with like later iterations of the Xbox. It was the Clone Wars and a new version of Tetris Worlds. It came packaged with later iterations of the Xbox. Weird combination, Star Wars and Tetris.
Orange Jacket guy might have some sort of connection there. I think he believes that Tetris is some sort of Soviet propaganda. So there might be something to do with Clone Wars and Tetris kind of.
Okay. All right. So I want to talk about this controller because one of the not so great things about the original Xbox was the original fat controller. Look, just put your hands on it.
It's
just grab it.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. It was so it's so huge. It's so unnecessary because this was about as American as it gets, right? Because at the time,
it's Texas sized.
yeah, the thing was they were competing with the Japanese audience, right? So they wanted an American-sized controller, and this thing is so fucking big, this original controller, and it was so off-putting. And I don't know what the real motivation was to make it that fucking big. Honestly, it to me, I don't get it, because they were trying at the time to break into the Japanese audience, and I remember reading articles like Japanese players fucking hated it because they small hands, you know,
penis so small.
And even me as an American man trying to hold this big ass fucking controller, it's like, why is this so big?
And honestly, like the PlayStation controller, like in the early days of the PlayStation versus Xbox, right? The controller was one of the things that was the high horse, I guess.
Yeah.
Is for PlayStation people was like,
yeah,
no,
they had those Dual Shocks.
Yeah,
you know?
Dual Shock. It's the superior controller to what Xbox has
at the time.
Yeah, and then later iterations.
Yeah, and Microsoft adjusted. So they eventually came out with the Xbox Controller S, I think they called this, and this is essentially what the current iterations of the Xbox controllers are based off of.
Just without the bumpers.
Yeah, no bumpers. And then they had the black and white buttons, which were your start and select. I don't know why they felt the need to not call them start and select and just color code them, but they eventually came around. And yeah, this updated version of the Xbox controller is kind of the basis for everything we've had since then. But that first iteration, it was awful. And trying to play certain games, like trying to play Tony Hawk with that fucking thing, was a pain in the dick sometimes. It was great for Halo, because you were really just playing with the two sticks and the triggers. That's all you needed.
Right.
Like, unless you needed to change weapons or whatever. But trying to play the Tony Hawk games, because that was the other thing about these fucking buttons. the four main buttons are so close together, and they're this weird oval shape, and
Yeah,
it wasn't.
That is an odd shape.
Yeah, it wasn't like the way it is with the PlayStation controllers and the later S controllers, where they're more spread out, more evenly. They're these weird fucking just. It was very strange.
There must have been like whoever the human factors person that designed that must have like spilled coffee on the plans or something, and they just like spread out
like,
just a little bit. Like, oh yeah, go ahead, make these.
Yeah.
Kind of like the people that made the controller cables for the Nintendo Minis. That when they came out, they're like, oh, we're going to make the controller cord this long to scale with the other controllers.
So you mentioned the cord. That's one good thing that they did. This was the introduction of the quick release sort of. I don't even know what you call this. The cable connector, where if there's any pressure put on the fucking controller cable, then there's this like quick release.
It's like a PS2 connection, right?
Yeah, it looks like one of those like mouse keyboard, those old mouse keyboard PS2 connections. But the reason was back in the day, you're fucking playing TV. You're playing your Nintendo, your PlayStation, whatever. You got the cord stretched halfway across the fucking living room.
And somebody walks by it.
Some asshole walks by, trips over it, and the whole console comes crashing down. This completely like negated that, because if somebody tripped over the fucking cable, just boom, quick release, the game would pause, and you'd be like, fuck, I gotta reconnect my controller. But your console wouldn't be on the fucking floor at that point. And
on the floor with the fucking CD in there going.
Yeah, because you got to remember, this is the pre-wireless days, where wireless controllers ate a shitload of battery power. They weren't very reliable. It was not like what we have today. Something else we haven't mentioned. This is like really prevalent when it comes to Halo, but some other games adopted this too. You got the Ethernet connection in the back of the Xbox. In addition to allowing you to connect to like broadband internet, it also allowed you to do LAN parties, which was again something that used to be exclusively a PC thing.
PC only.
Yeah,
like your old Quake parties and shit like that. That was a PC only thing.
Yeah, but with the Xbox, you could connect that Ethernet to a hub, which connected to another Xbox, and you could do a 4-system link, basically, which I know back in the day, I think PlayStation or PlayStation 2 had like a 2-system link, but this allowed you to have up to 4 Xboxes, up to 16 players, simultaneously playing games like fucking Halo. And I did that one time. I got to do that in like 2001 time frame. Oh no, 2001, yeah, because it was after the Xbox came out. I had met up with some friends in my hometown in California who had Xboxes, and we did a 4 Xbox system link party, and we played Halo, and it was so fucking fun. And it was, kind of a harken to those PC days where you had the PC LAN parties. So again, Microsoft branching consoles out into these things that used to be PC exclusives.
Right. And it made sense, right? Like if you're going to do something, if you're known for computers, then let's play on that. Let's play on the fact that, hey, we're computer experts.
Yeah.
We're going to bring this technology into the gaming console world.
Mm-hmm.
And continue to do that even to this day.
Yeah. Whereas now it's all about the online. Like, I don't even know if you can do System Link with like an Xbox One or an Xbox X.
I don't know.
Or any of that.
Even doing fucking split screen on the consoles now is a pain in the fuck.
Oh, yeah. It's archaic. But back then, it was great.
Thank you, Lunar Girl. Hang on.
And you know what? I might have, quite frankly.
You probably did. You probably ran over them a million fucking times because they hit the wrong button on that stupid oval ass controller and jumped out of the goddamn warthog.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to see if there's anything else we missed. Graphics wise, I already mentioned every multi-platform game that would come out for the Xbox and the PS2 at the time always looked better on the Xbox. That was one thing. HD gaming was another area where they started to like dip their toes into. Even though they were only doing 480p at the time, it was something. They were acknowledging higher resolution televisions and everything like that, and they were starting to support that early on, even with the Xbox 360, when that came out, they were all about the HD with that.
Yeah.
Whereas PlayStation, they were a little bit slower to adopt. But Microsoft, they wanted to be at the forefront, and that's something that I give them a lot of credit for with these consoles, be it the broadband gaming, the HD displays, all of that, the built-in hard drives. They were the pioneers when it comes to all of this shit, and I give them a lot of credit. And I think that the original Xbox gets more shit than it deserves, I think, from the general gaming community when it comes to stuff like that.
Okay.
You disagree, or you just have no opinion?
I don't have an opinion. I didn't have one. So I came to the Xbox party late.
Right.
And, we can talk about that, at the end with our kind of parting thoughts when it comes to Xbox and Xbox 360. We want to talk some Halo?
Yeah, let's talk some Halo. So Halo was such an interesting the path that it took to get to the Xbox as an exclusive game was unique in and of itself, because Bungie was a Mac developer. They made games exclusively for Macs back in the day, which you didn't really have that many of those fucking companies back in the day, because Macs were not known for their video games.
Not a gaming machine.
Yeah, they were all about like fucking photo editing and fucking video editing and all that shit, but they were not known as gaming platforms. In fact, they were made fun of specifically for that fact. So the fact that Bungie, they were a company that developed games exclusively for the Mac. They made the Marathon games, which were early first-person shooters that had a lot of Halo-like themes, but they looked like fucking Wolfenstein games, right? With that old blocky, like fucking, very limited sort of first-person shooter games back in the day.
You're hitting spacebar on the walls to try and fucking find something that'll open.
Oh yeah,
just nonstop.
Yeah, but there were a lot of early like Halo-like themes within those games, and then they decided, okay, we're gonna start making this Halo game for the Mac. Which the whole concept, it initially started as like a real-time strategy game where you'd build units and you'd send them into combat and everything, but it kind of morphed from there, where they're like, okay, what if we maybe try doing the same engine, but instead of a real-time strategy, we made like a third-person action game. And one of the first things that they developed was the Warthog, which you remember driving the Warthog.
Yeah. No, I remember you driving the Warthog.
Right. So they developed that, and in this third-person game, and as they're driving the Warthog, they're like, this is really fucking fun. And at some point they decided, okay, why don't we make this a first-person shooter? But when we go into like Warthog mode, it becomes like a third-person view and all this. And that's kind of how the game developed. It was originally started as a real-time strategy to a third-person shooter game, then to a first-person shooter game. At some point during this last transition, they were bought by Microsoft. Bungie was acquired by Microsoft, and they're like, you're not going to make this game for Mac anymore. You're going to make it for our new console that's coming out next year. And they're like, sure, yeah, whatever. So they fucking stole this, because this was the days when it was fucking Bill Gates and Steve Jobs at the head of fucking Microsoft and Mac,
right,
or and Apple, and they were constantly fucking competing with each other. And this was a big coup by Microsoft to fucking steal Bungie and have them, now produce a game for their new fucking console that's coming out. And I was watching a video. This is the video I sent you, by the way, that was talking about the development of Halo. Like 3 or 4 months before the game came out, the engine was done. Like all of the weapons had been finished. Everything was complete, except they didn't have a campaign yet. So in the last 3 to 4 months of development, they fucking hammered out this campaign that you and I played through, over these last couple of days.
Right.
So when, we get to this point where we're going through this campaign and we go into this fucking building, and now the second part of this level is backtracking through that fucking building, that was because of the limitations that they had as they were developing this fucking game on such a tight crunch.
Let's make this a fucking maze when it really doesn't need to be. Let's go up into this. Whoa, look down. over here. Well, this is a ramp to nowhere. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like-
And that was a big complaint when the game came out, was some levels it was kind of hard to tell where you were supposed to go next. And we were playing this this updated Master Chief Collection version of Halo.
Right.
That did give us these waypoints and everything else. I kind of
after we fucking dicked around for whatever indeterminate amount of time.
Yeah.
Of crashing into walls and fucking me getting run over by you fucking half dozen times, and then finally Cortana's like, "Oh yeah, here's your fucking triangle. Go over here, idiots."
Yeah.
And then you go towards it. Probably would have saved a lot of time. So here's the thing. When you start a level, like, or in between like the little narration or whatever, there's like a par time, and then there's like whatever.
Well, again, now this is in the Master Chief Collection. This was not prevalent in the original
that
version.
wasn't in the original version?
No, where it had like the average time
Right.
to get through the level versus like
Yeah, it had a par time of like 15 minutes. I'm like, you wouldn't have to know exactly where you were supposed to be going.
Yeah.
To get through that bullshit in 15 minutes, because otherwise, fucking forget it. You're like, this hallway? No, not that hallway. That doesn't go anywhere.
We're getting lost on the second level as we're driving the Warthog, and we're like, wait, we already turned here.
Yeah.
So we need to go back and turn here, maybe?
Yeah. And then, like, magically, we're like going 360 degrees, and then suddenly the turn is right there.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, if I had to give like a big criticism to this game, it's the fact that they really don't kind of help guide you where you need to go next.
We are spoiled as fuck with our mini maps in games now.
Yeah.
Like, I fully expect a mini map to fucking tell me where I'm supposed to go.
But I mean, as far as like gameplay and the AI that you're facing, it's a very good game. It's one thing that they really differentiated this with other like modern first person shooters at the time were like your lack of gun storage. You were limited to only being able to hold 2 guns at a time with limited ammo. So you had to be smart with when you're picking up new weapons that your enemies have dropped, and it's a lot of resource management in a sense in this game, where it's not like you just fucking collect a million fucking guns and you've got a backpack of like 18 fucking weapons at your disposal and all this fucking ammo. It's like, no, ammo conservation and, really picking and choosing what weapons you want to go and when to swap them out. That's an important part of this game, because there were times when you and I were playing over this last week where you're like, fuck, I'm out of ammo. I need to pick up a new gun. Or I was saying that.
Yep.
And
yeah, pick up this alien weapon. All right, cool. It's at 97%. Or no, I pick up this one. It's at 27%. This fucking alien gun. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Ow!
And sometimes that's not the good weapon to use against the type of enemy that you're facing at the time, because depending on the enemy that you're facing, they're more susceptible to certain weapons than others.
Yeah.
Or it's easier to get like a broad shot, like especially when you get like dealing with the fucking flood, right? It's much better to use like your original human machine gun against all those little fucking flood pods. So it's
little shrimp things and shrimp squid things that are fucking, oh my God.
Yeah.
Fucking gross.
Right.
Like,
so
ugh.
it requires a lot of work on your part, and outside of the confusing level design, I think the game was brilliant when it comes to the enemy AI, the level of challenge, and that story-driven narrative, which we talked about this a little bit in the Twitch stream. At the time on PC, the biggest fucking game at this point was the original Half-Life. The original Half-Life was a shooter. It was very story-driven, and the story was given to you, presented to you as you're going through the game, as opposed to like cutscenes and everything else. And Halo kind of followed that same formula, and it was really the basis for what shooters would aspire to in subsequent years. But yeah, Halo on consoles was like the pioneer for this kind of storytelling and narrative in games.
Storytelling. Cortana rolling up on a fucking structure. This structure is not organic.
It doesn't appear to be natural or something like that. Yeah. So we're on the fucking Halo, which, by the way, we haven't even talked about the concept of the Halo ripped straight out of Larry Niven's Ringworld, which I had read like 3 years before this game came out, right? I was like really into sci-fi books. I was reading a shitload of sci-fi novels, and I had read Larry Niven's Ringworld, and it was about this
Never
fucking
read Dune.
It was about this fucking world that was built in a big fucking ring around. I think it was around a sun at the time, and you know the concept of Halo was pretty much the same thing. And I guess the developers admitted, like, oh yeah, we totally stole from that and from a couple other science fiction books. So they made no bones that they took some of those concepts.
Right.
But I forgot where I was going with that.
I had no idea where you're going with.
So, okay, we've played through it, and you said you had played through the original Halo a little bit back in the day, right?
Nope. All the Halo that I played at, well, no, that's not true. I played probably like 5 or 10 minutes worth of Halo, like at some point back in the day. Like not even worth like remembering it.
Yeah.
Mainly because I think we were at, like, it was one of my son's friend's house, and he, like, it was what he was trying to get me to go, like, to get into Xbox so that he could get Halo so he could play with his friends.
Oh, okay.
So it was like, hey, here, check this out. And I'm like, looking at it, I was like, whatever. Like, you know, it didn't resonate with me. And then he made me watch, like, the red versus blue thing.
Oh, yeah, we haven't talked about red versus blue.
And I'm like, well, that's funny, but I still wasn't, like, in it. And I just never got into the game. Like, obviously, like, you've heard me talk about, like, I play Call of Duty with zombies. You know, my first-person shooter really was, like, Call of Duty Medal of Honor, then kind of graduated to you know, with World War II with the zombies, and like I gravitate toward the zombie games. Like I like just running around fucking shooting zombies in the face. I just that I get my kicks off of that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm playing. But as far as Halo goes, when you're like, hey, you know, the Master Chief Collection has blah, 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 when we're kind of, you know, putting the show ideas together, I'm like, all right, well, I went online and was like super cheap to get it off.
Probably like less than 20, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think it was like $20 off of the store. And I don't have Game Pass, so I just like bought it straight. And when I downloaded it, I had no idea like which fucking thing was which. So like, I'm looking at it, I was like, okay, all right, Halo 2 is obviously Halo 2, right? And there was Halo 4, then you had Halo CE, and then like, so I'm like, well, I don't want to start with some bullshit one, so I'll play Halo 4. I think that people said that was good.
Right.
So I played through the story of Halo 4, and I was like, all right, but I spent the entire time fucking with the controller because the controller wasn't set up for what I'm used to with Call of Duty. So then when we were talking about it, like getting ready for the show, you're like, oh, you know, CE is what we're going to play because that's like the original but redone.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And then I started to play that a little bit to try and like, you know, familiarize myself with it so I don't look like such a fucking noob when we're playing it online. And the fucking I went into the settings, realized I could set up the controller more like my controller I have set up for Call of Duty. I ended up being it helped a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it's really funny how your muscle memory, like, if you can make something, like, adjusted to that, like, oh, fuck, it far and away made the game experience better.
Funny story. So there was one point when we were playing the other day, and I still have that muscle memory for Battlefront, the 2015 version of Battlefront.
Yeah, the best version.
Yeah, to where we're, like, in trouble, and my initial instinct is to back off and hit one of the bumper buttons to jetpack away. And I'm like hitting him like, oh, fuck. Nope, can't do that. Yeah, so you talk about that muscle memory with shooters and everything. So
yeah, we gotta speaking of sidebar, we need to do some
Battlefront.
Some Battlefront.
Dude, I was playing on Saturday, and there was a full game going on Blast.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, so
it's such a good game. Such a good game.
Yeah. So look for that on our Twitch stream.
Yes.
Coming soon.
Twitch.tv/the Sidebar Cantina.
Whenever Dave can get some time off.
Listen, you can go on there and play, and then I could go on there and play. Like, I think what we're going to do is whenever we get time to play video games, whether it's together or not, we'll just go on there and fucking play.
Yeah. I agree.
You got something going on over there?
I need to take a break.
Do you?
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
You weren't giving me any indication that
I
you
know.
needed to break.
I know.
All
but
right, well, I mean, since you're mentioning it now, I think we should take a break.
yeah, let's take a break and then we'll wrap this up when we get back. But yeah, we do have to go and take a very quick break after this word from our sponsors. Oh God.
This is what I like. I'm good.
Yeah, it just kind of hit me very suddenly.
One of these days, one of us is just gonna piss ourselves. It's just gonna be like, oh God. You're gonna watch it live on YouTube, just like, oh, it's so warm. What is this? I should have really have read the notes before the show started. We are professionals. Oh, yeah. I don't disagree. Yeah. So, how is everybody? Good. How's the weather? Yeah, here too. My favorite part of when Jason has to pee is that like he gives this indication like the listener, the audio listener is not going to have any idea that we're taking a break. Like or he says or we're going to take this break and like the listeners are not going to have any idea why. Like I give it away immediately as we come back. Like oh yeah. Like, but these are the games we play.
What are we talking about?
How you like play this game where it's like you play coy with how we're taking a break so you can pee, but you don't actually say we have to pee or you have to pee.
You got to leave some mystery in there,
I guess.
So, all right, are we ready?
Is the mystery how many bottles you can leave laying around on the ground to kick?
Oh, that was the funniest thing when I came back in from that first night we streamed. Like, I didn't realize how much I had drank that night. It's one of those things where after like the third one, it's like, it all becomes a blur.
Right.
And I kind of stumbled my way into the house afterwards.
Go into Facebook jail.
Yes, and I crashed early, and then I come back out here the next day, and I open the door and I look in the room, and all I see is like beer bottles all over the fucking floor. I'm like, oh wow, I drank a lot more than I thought.
It's like it's a college fucking dorm party.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Do a countdown when you're ready.
Yeah, do it. We'll wrap this up. And we're back again. So let's kind of wrap this up and sort of talk about the legacy of the original Xbox and the original Halo and kind of what came afterwards. Because like I alluded to before, it wasn't really about what this first console did and what the first Halo did. More about the foundation that they laid and the groundwork that they laid for subsequent releases, which you know more about than the original one. Mm-hmm. Talking about the Xbox, right? The successor, the Xbox 360 came out in 05.
We'll go with it.
Yeah, like 4 years later, less than a normal console cycle because the PlayStation 3 had been announced, and Microsoft's like, "Oh no, bitch, you're not beating us to the punch." So Microsoft immediately, it felt very rushed, the Xbox 360, but it ended up being one of the more successful consoles out there. And to me, the 360 is one of my all-time favorite gaming consoles ever. With the library of games that had, the refined controller, the refined Xbox Live, I feel like the Xbox 360 was damn near the perfect console.
Listen,
at this point.
The 360 is what brought me from the PS2. I mean, we had a PS3 in the house because, you know, my son was still playing. He wanted a PS3 to be able to play online with the friends that he had still playing with some of the the PlayStation specific console stuff.
Yeah.
But my friends were all moving over to Xbox to play Call of Duty stuff. They're like, oh yeah, we have 360s now.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. So now I'm like, okay, do we bring another console into the house just so I can play it? Because my son didn't want anything to do with it. Like he had a PlayStation 3. He was content. And we had a Wii in the house. So what we ended up doing, no pun intended, was packaged up the Wii, fucking took it to GameStop. They gave us fucking $5.35 for it, and we fucking traded it in for an Xbox 360.
Nice.
And I haven't looked back because it was one of those things where I'm like, oh God, the controller, I'm not sure if I'm going to like it, going from PlayStation and everything else. And I was like, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't go back
And
at this point.
and
I just wouldn't.
yeah, the beauty is too, they haven't messed with the winning formula. The controllers going from the 360 to the One to the Series X, damn near the same. Just a little bit sleeker, a couple
Right.
tweaks here and there, but overall, it's the exact same fucking controller design
Yep.
that we've had since the 360 that was built off of this original Xbox Series S controller.
Right.
So,
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
right. And something that I completely forgot to mention, let's backtrack a little bit here. When this console first came out, 2001, 2002 timeframe, Kristen and I were really big into the online game EverQuest. I know I've mentioned this a few times.
Yeah.
And we were part of this guild, and we had a lot of friends at the time. And there was this one guy that I got along with really well for some reason. I don't know what it was. We had like this love for like retro games and stuff like that. We'd always like talk about like NES games and shit. And one day I decided to ask him because I don't know if you remember, but there were two competing NFL franchise games at the time. Because there was the Madden games, but before EA wrapped up the rights to NFL games, there was also the NFL 2K whatever series. Right? And those games also came out for the Xbox. And I think I had NFL 2K and maybe even 2K1. And we were getting to like the 2003 time frame. And I had heard so much good stuff about Madden. I was still playing the NFL 2K games. And this guy that I was friends with on EverQuest, we were talking about football. Like he was a big, I think it was a Broncos fan. And we're going back and forth. And I'm like, hey, man, what do you think about the NFL 2K versus the Madden games? Like, do you have a preference one or the other? He's like, well, I'm kind of biased. He's like, I work for EA Tiburon, and I'm one of the developers of Madden. So I'm a little bit biased when it comes to that game, that thing. I'm like,
Holy shit.
I'm like, are you fucking serious? He's like, yeah, I've been working on Madden since like 2000, and I'm actually about to get moved over to this new NFL franchise that we're working on called NFL Street.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I'm like, are you fucking serious? He's like, what's your address? I'm like, whatever, Stockton, California. He's like, check your mail in like 4 or 5 days. He sends me a stack of fucking EA games because as an employee of EA at the time, he just could walk into their fucking employee store and just grab copies of fucking games.
No shit.
Yeah. And he sent me like, it was like a copy of Madden 2003, like NFL Street, and like their NCAA football game and a couple like an NBA game.
Dude, the NCAA...
Whoops.
I alluded to the NCAA game. Like that's one of those franchises that if that came back, like I haven't played Madden in a minute.
Yeah.
Like I stopped buying the Madden franchise because while I think the game is still good, I just don't want to invest the time in it.
Right.
But if they came out with fucking NCAA again, I would probably be a shut-in. Like, I'd show up to do the podcast, I'd go to work, and I'd be playing NCAA. I mean, I was so into that fucking game. And now that I can see it coming back.
Mm-hmm.
A game like that, now that the fucking players can actually make money off their likeness and shit like
yeah.
that, then absolutely, let's bring this fucking game back. Call up your boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you still kicking it out there?
Well,
like, get on some EverQuest fucking Reddit stream and be like, yo, trying to find this dude.
Well, and the beauty is like when they were making the NCAA games back in the mid 2000s, they were just using the fucking Madden engine. They fucking just changed the uniforms and it was the same fucking game. Just
Yeah,
you know,
except when you scored a touchdown, you get to hear your fucking team's fight song. And
true. Yeah.
it's fucking great.
And I bring that up because normally when we talk about video game consoles, we do like a top 5 list and everything, which obviously, since you don't have the resources or the know-how, you couldn't do a top 5 list. But I'll tell you, my top 3 favorite games on this system. Number 3, Knights of the Old Republic. We're not going to talk about that much today because they're now working on a remake.
Right.
When that remake comes out, you can bet your fucking ass that
yeah.
we're going to get that and we're going to play it and we're going to like do a full Knights of the Old Republic thing.
Yeah, and I purchased the Knights of the Old Republic port that's in the store.
Yeah.
So I have a version of it on my Xbox now.
Yeah, so there's going to be a much deeper conversation at a later date. My number 2 is the first Halo. The first Halo to me was a fucking brilliant first-person shooter. But my number 1 game, and I know I've talked about this on other podcasts, Madden 2005.
05, yeah.
To this day, I still think this is the perfect football game. I've played subsequent football games on more updated systems, on the 360, on the Xbox One. To me, Madden 2005 is still the perfect fucking football game, and it's the only one I'll ever play. Whenever I go to play a fucking football game, it's going to be this one. I'm either going to fire up an original Xbox or a PS2 or a GameCube. I have it on all of those systems, by the way, because it came out on the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox. That's the only football game I will ever play for the rest of my life. Because it was that fucking good and that fucking tight.
I have it. I think I have it for PS2.
Yeah.
I think I have a PS2 hooked up to our guest room right now, and I think it's in the drawer right now with my PS2.
I believe it.
Yeah, it's a great fucking game, and the plays, everything works.
Yeah,
like it's really smooth.
Mm-hmm.
It's not overdoing it with the graphics. It's not overdoing it with the announcing.
Well, yeah. If you play it for as many hours as I've played it, the Madden quotes do get very repetitive, but not many people are as crazy as me to play the same game over and over for 16 years.
But. Yeah, and see, that was the big thing with those games. Like NCAA, for me, was playing it online.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all I wanted to do. It's like this is my team. I want to find some other team like Chuck Brinzer.
Yeah.
And fucking all right, I'm going to beat Ohio State again. Like this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to take the best Penn State team and I can put together like the fucking 94 national championship team, and I'm going to fucking go and I'm going to win.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I was all about the owner mode. The owner mode would let you be the owner, and you could play through seasons for like 20 fucking seasons or something like that. And that's what I would do. I would play through it. I would always, just real quick, do you remember Seneca Wallace?
Yeah.
He was always a backup quarterback for like Seattle or some other people. He was the fastest player in that game next to Michael Vick, quarterback-wise.
Right.
And if you did enough like preseason drills and stuff with him, his throwing rating would go up pretty quickly. So I would always draft him in because I'd always do the fantasy draft.
Right.
At the beginning of a franchise, which would just put every single player in a big fucking pool and you would just draft your team, which was so fucking fun. I'd always draft him way later. He'd always be my number 1 quarterback. And, I would just demolish people. It was beautiful. But yeah, Seneca Wallace, will always have a special place in my heart because of how good you can make him as a quarterback in Madden 2005.
Nice.
So,
little known fact. Now you go out there, you have an in now with your Madden 05. You go out there and spinning up.
Yeah. Yeah. Draft Seneca Wallace in round 10 or 11 and you'll be set on quarterback. All right. So we talked about the consoles. Halo. Pretty big franchise still.
Yeah.
The 6th game in the series is going to be released next month, early next month, December, 8th. The multiplayer, the free multiplayer, just got released today on Xbox Live as part of the anniversary and everything. It's like a beta. Okay. But yeah, anybody can get on there and play the Halo Infinite multiplayer, which is the 6th game in the series. But they've also had spin-offs. I talked about my son Ben's obsession with the Halo series. He is rabidly obsessed with the entire Halo franchise. Loves all of the fucking games. Halo Reach, which was one of the spin-off games, is his favorite game ever. But he's also like the Halo Wars games, which are the real-time strategy games that came from it. And yeah, huge Halo fan, and it's a massive franchise that Microsoft is still milking to this day, 20 years later.
And why wouldn't you?
Right.
Honestly, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Especially because it's theirs.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, PlayStation, no, sorry, this is ours.
Yeah, because when they acquired Bungie, and then even though Bungie left, they split from Microsoft. Microsoft retained all of the rights to the Halo names and everything, which is why fucking Cortana is a function of fucking Windows now.
Well, until Windows 11, and I don't think Cortana's...
Oh, they're taking her away in
Yeah,
Windows 11?
Speaking of, Cortana's a fucking twit. she's a fucking giant titty twit in that fucking game.
She is very well endowed for a virtual woman,
Right.
yes.
I'm shocked that they get away with that shit.
Yeah.
But she's dumb as a sack of hammers, man. Like, she is not helpful at all.
Yeah.
Hence the Captain Obvious quotes about this is not a natural structure.
Yeah.
Like, no shit.
You have to score more points than your opponent if you want to win the game.
Like, can you fucking tell us where to go? I've hacked into the system. Great. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Is it helping us right now?
Yeah.
No, it's not. We're fucking wandering around looking for shit.
Yeah, show us the little red diamond of death right from the start so we know where to fucking
I
go.
have a HUD, this heads-up display. Why don't you display something, you stupid fuck?
Yeah.
She really pissed me off. Halo 4, she wasn't as bad. But
Yeah.
she was also, like, twitchy or something. Like, her whole storyline in it was, like, she
Well,
was super glitchy.
Yeah, she was getting a little crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, broads. Anyway, what?
And I'm the misogynist of the duo.
I'm just saying.
Anything else
You
before
are the
we start?
misogynist of the duo.
Anything else before we close this up and start talking about Red 5 and football?
No. No, because we talked about the Xbox 360 and Xbox One. Can you even get Xbox Sex? Like, is it available? Like, have people been able to buy it?
As far as I know, no. Like, I think I got lucky with mine because I got it last year right before Christmas. Somebody in a group chat that I'm in was like, hey, AFES has fucking Xbox Series X's right now. I'm like, fuck it. I went online and I grabbed it. From everything that oh, fuck, we did miss this or that, didn't we? All right, let's do this or that really quick, and that'll be the end of it. Fuck. I had too much to drink from the start.
Thank you, Bronco Fett.
Yep, he's the best.
Well, we were saving it for the beginning of the thing, and then yeah,
Right.
and it's right in the notes.
Yeah.
By the by,
I've been totally not following the notes since we got here. So every week on the show, we do a segment called This or That, where our social media director, Luna Girl, goes on to our Instagram. And what's our Instagram, Dave?
at the Sidebar Cantina.
And she gives you two options. You pick one of the options, and we go over the results here on the show.
Right.
So
At some point of the show.
at some point,
During the show.
During
at
the
some
show.
point.
Are we not doing it during the show right
We
now?
are doing it during the show.
All right, thank you.
We're doing it 2 hours into the show, but we are in fact doing it during the show.
Yes. So, obviously, this week it's an original Xbox themed poll.
As it
So,
should be.
we start off with best Star Wars game. Obi-Wan versus Star Wars Starfighter. Just so you can see the covers, there's the Obi-Wan and the Starfighter games.
Right. Starfighter.
If I had to pick one, I'd probably say the Obi-Wan game, but I never actually owned either of them. So
I'm partial to starfighting, games.
yeah.
So that's why.
All right.
I mean, honestly,
And it was a dead heat between the two.
yeah,
50% to 50%. Obi-Wan versus Starfighter.
it's tough. You're pitting Star Wars against Star Wars. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
It's like trying to pick the favorite child. I mean, you obviously have a favorite child, but you're not supposed to tell people
Right.
which one is your favorite.
Exactly. So we had an NFL better football game, NFL Fever versus Madden. Now NFL Fever, like if you look at the cover art, I'm sure you recognize it. The NFL Fever with Peyton Manning,
Like,
but like she should have put NFL 2K on here, but whatever. We'll forgive that.
Why?
Yeah.
Because Peyton Manning's on the cover of that one?
No, because the NFL 2K games were like far bigger than the NFL Fever games.
But either way, Madden's.
Right, and I would have picked Madden, and as did 89% of
Right.
the audience.
Right.
So, and this was 2002, the one with Dante Culpepper. That was the one that guy that I knew sent me. He sent me the copy of Madden 2002. He's
With
like,
Culpepper on it?
yeah. He's like, here. Just
Have I
this.
told a story on the show about me playing golf with one of the wide receivers that was involved in that scandal with the fucking strippers on the fucking boat?
No.
Oh my fucking god! I haven't told that story. I haven't
No,
told that story.
I've never heard that story.
Oh my god! All right,
Well, I mean, you better tell it now. So.
all right. Hang on a second. I forget this fucker's name every single time I get ready to tell this story. So look up for me who was in the 2001 draft class. It's the Michael Vick draft.
Okay.
So John and I, we're going to. He's getting ready to fly back to Tampa, so we go and we're playing golf down in Valley Brook, which is down the road from here.
Mm-hmm.
And the course is owned by Ron Jaworski, right? Ron Jaworski, he was a Philadelphia Eagle. He owns a bunch of golf courses down here, and what he does is he wants like NFL players and former NFL players to come play his courses because it brings kind of that notoriety.
Sure.
Like when people see NFL people on the course, is like, oh shit, such and such is on the course. So John and I are playing. We tee off. We can only play 9 holes because he's got a flight to catch. So we tee off, and we get up to the second hole. There's a single coming, and we're like, well, let's just have him join up. So he starts playing with us, and he's terrible. He's fucking terrible, right? He's black guy. He's about our height, right? But you can tell he's like athletic.
Yeah.
Right. Like, man, I feel like I recognize this dude, right? Like, fuck, I don't know where I know him from, but he's somebody. I just don't know who he is, right? So we're playing it. We finish the second hole, and he drives away. Like his golf cart had a flat tire, so he drives away to get a new golf cart. So we played a third hole. He comes back by the fourth hole, and we hit balls again. I'm like, fuck, man, I know this guy is somebody. I'm trying to figure it the fuck out. So, and we're bullshitting, right? And he's asking, "Oh, what do you guys do?" We're like, "Oh, we're military, blah blah blah." And we're kind of giving him our background or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Yeah, I played football." I'm like, "Oh yeah, who'd you play for?" He's like, "Oh, I played for NC State." I'm like, "NC State? Who the fuck came from NC State?" So, let me see the draft. Let me see that draft because
What draft?
I told you to bring up the 2001 draft.
Oh, sorry.
Did you not do it?
I didn't think you were talking to me.
Who was I talking to? Anyway, I as many times I've told the story, I can't believe I don't remember the name every time. So,
You want like the Wikipedia?
2001 NFL draft. So, he's like, "Yeah, I had a real nice season. And I got drafted." I was like, "Oh yeah, shit. What draft class were you in?" He's like, "Oh, I got drafted in 2001." And I'm like, "Fuck." In my brain, I'm like, 2001. That's when fucking Vic got drafted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, holy shit, he was in that draft class. All right, let's talk about who's in that draft class.
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Michael Vick was number 1. LT was the 5th guy.
Yeah.
Right. His name was Corn Robinson. He was the 9th pick in the draft.
Oh fuck, Seahawks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Corn Robinson.
Ahead of Santana Moss.
Yes. Ahead of a lot of people.
Yeah.
See who else is in that draft? Like, there's a lot of fuckers in this draft. Santana Moss is in there.
Deuce McAllister.
Freddie Mitchell, who a lot of Eagles fans know. Reggie Wayne. Drew Brees was the first in the second
I've heard of
round.
that guy.
Yeah, you've heard of that guy.
Yeah.
Right? So, and apparently...
Chad Johnson.
So he's like, yeah, he got injured. He got injured his senior year or his last year at NC State. He's like, yeah, I would have got drafted higher than in the top 10, but he got injured. And I'm sitting there like, holy fuck, man, that's impressive. And John, oblivious, completely oblivious.
That's right. He's not a football guy.
Right. He conceptually has no idea. Right. So I'm like, wow, all right. This dude's pretty legit. So we're standing on like the 7th hole, and we're kind of talking about like, because he was retired right from the NFL, and he was working for the Eagles as a He was basically working. It was Chip Kelly was the coach that year,
Oh.
and he was working with the running backs to help them with their hands to have them receive better. That was the year before, and he actually left the team because he wanted to get paid, because he was there just basically consulting. And he was like, "Hey, I'd like to get paid, be on the coaching staff." And Chip Kelly was like, "Yeah, nah, no, we don't want to pay you, but we want you to be on the staff." And he's like, "No, I'm
Yeah,
good."
go fuck yourself.
Yeah. So he's playing golf, and the only reason he's still in New Jersey is because his wife was like a PA or something, and she had a good job.
Yeah.
And so he was basically doing Mr. Mom shit. And we're basically getting a whole life story like you do. This is what happens on a golf course. And we're talking, and he's talking about retirement, and it's not it's nice retirement. The medical benefits are okay, and then we're kind of talking about military retirement, and we just started talking about like 18-year-old kids, right? And like in the military, how it was kind of like similar to like you get drafted and you have all this money, right? And because we were talking about in the draft, that first round, like how much money the difference is, like when you're in that first round. And I'm like, yeah, it's funny you think about in the Air Force, we kind of deal with the same thing, because you give these kids, like, they're coming from home. It's the first time they're ever really getting money on their own, so they buy a bunch of shit.
They buy a car. Yeah, they buy like a
getting
married,
a
fancy car.
They're getting into trouble. They're underage drinking and all this other stuff. So I'm telling them, like, how these young kids make these stupid mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going back and forth, and he's just standing there. He's we're going back and forth. Play a couple holes in. Super, super nice guy. Terrible golfer. Fucking, we finish up, shake hands. Like, yeah, nice meeting you. Have a nice day. Fucking John and I go in the clubhouse. Finally, we take out our fucking phones. Like, fuck, right? To square away who this dude is. And when I Google the name, I Google Corin Robinson, and fucking one of the first things that comes up is this fucking bullshit where he was one of the dudes on the boat with fucking Dante Culpepper when that fucking shit went down.
Yeah.
So I'm standing there talking about how young kids do stupid shit when they get a bunch of fucking money to one of the dudes that got in trouble in the NFL when he was a young kid doing stupid shit. Felt like a complete asshole. Like, I'm like, God damn it, man. It was, and I was really being like a dad. Like a dad talk,
right?
Like, yeah, fucking stupid kids, right? And yeah, kids do stupid shit. Like, no, obviously not having any idea that he, in fact, did this himself. So anyway, yeah, that's my Corin Robinson story.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, what's the rest of this or that?
Oh fuck. Yeah, that's what we were doing.
Sorry, that's a long ass story.
Yep.
Yes, Corin Robinson. I hope he's listening. I would love for him to be
Somehow
listening.
I doubt that. All right, racing games. We got Test Drive or NASCAR Thunder. Those are what they look like.
I can't say I've played either one of those.
I recall playing NASCAR Thunder, like not actually owning it, but just kind of playing it because they were trying to go for more of like an action-y type racing thing. Because if it's like straight up NASCAR, it's like left turn, left turn, left turn, and then that's it. Or NASCAR Thunder, they were like, it was more like bumping into each other. There were like power ups and all kinds of shit like that. But either way, like I'd probably still go with the off-road game, the Test Drive off-road.
Yeah, I could see that because I did the off-road games with PlayStation, and I had the Gran Turismo games.
Yeah,
they were super fun.
Mm-hmm. Next, we have fighting games: Dead or Alive 3 versus Kabuki Warriors. I don't know if you recognize either of those.
Is it Kabuki like? Isn't that like a Japanese sex thing?
Now I really want to play that game. Maybe. But
I'm thinking of something else. I
went with Dead or Alive 3, as did 76% of the
fair enough.
the people. Then
not the Japanese sex game.
Right. Then we also had Max Payne versus Silent Hill 2.
Max Payne, I actually played that game.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I remember the Silent Hill games always like being second-rate Resident Evils. Like the Resident Evil games were far better at the survival horror type thing. So yeah, I would have went with Max Payne 2, but it was another dead heat. Max Payne and Silent Hill each got 50%.
I think is name recognition, honestly, with the dead heat.
Probably. So, but that was this or that. Sorry it came so late in the show.
Twitter poll also.
Twitter poll.
Don't forget the Twitter poll.
Smoke my poll. All right. What were your favorite games from that year?
Penis so small.
Madden 2002, Star Wars Starfighter, Gotham Racing, or Silent Hill 2? We're a Star Wars audience, and Star Wars Starfighter won 63%.
As it should.
The next one was Madden, because again, we're also a partially football podcast when we want to be.
We drag some football people around with us.
Yep. And,
sometimes unwillingly.
Yep. And then Silent Hill at 12%, and then last place Gotham Racing with 0%.
Oh, Dragon Buddy, help me out. That's bukkake is the Japanese sex thing, not kukaki or whatever that video game was.
Kabuki.
Kabuki. They're very similar. I mean, honestly, it's very similar.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
We ready to wrap this up?
Sure.
All right. We've been babbling on for long enough.
All right. We got to get through this.
We?
Yeah, we. For our socials, I'm going to read that. I'm going to read that bit last. I'm going to read that last.
Sure.
I'm going to talk to the In Red 5 news. Jason, Luna Girl, and I recorded our segment for the first annual Parsec Awards. We did that on Thursday, right? We did it in one take. Fucking nailed it. And we were done. The awards show the hottest movies, series, games, movies, series, games, and pop culture 2020 through the beginning of 2021. We'll be going live. It will be going live this November 27th, which is in a couple weeks-ish. Stay tuned on our socials for updates. Luna Girl will have more information on that on our socials. Luna Girl's also been sharing her daily live stream schedules on all the socials for nightly Red 5 live chats to hang in. There are 33 amazing podcasts, including ours, in the Red 5 network, and literally something for every personality. For the complete list, visit bio.link / like this, Red 5. That it would be bio.link / Red 5. Coming up tonight on YouTube, you can find a Star Wars journey with Ashley and Brandy, who were in the chat tonight. Thank you, Ashley and Brandy. At 2000 hours Eastern. So in about 5 minutes, probably during our post show. So you flip on over to that if you're able. WSTR Media at 2200. That would be 10 p.m. for you civilians. And Salty Nerds, A Case of the Mondays at 2300. And Starlight Digest with a special guest, Lunar Girl, also at 2300. Lunar Girl is a busy Lunar Girl. And I don't know how she would stay up that late. I would be toast.
No, I shared a meme with you today
Yes.
about how
we're approaching Jason's bedtime.
Yeah, anything after 9, it's like I'm out.
So show her some support. That would be Lunar Girl, and hop in their live chat, or as they call it, the Sarlacc pit, if you can stay up that late.
Indeed.
As far as our Cantina family, Tuesday afternoon at 2 p.m. That would be 1400. Let's not mix up our timing here.
Right.
1400 Eastern. The Use and Abuse podcast will be live on YouTube with their weekend racing recap. Host Scott and Kim will be back again at 1900 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, I'm mixing up our times to review chick flick classic Dirty Dancing. Boo. Hop in their live chat or stream later in the week on your favorite podcasting app. Dirty Dancing. Not a fan.
Oh, God. No, fuck that movie.
She's not attractive.
Well, we'll talk about that when we talk about Ferris Bueller next week. Because
Yes.
Jennifer Grey is in Ferris Bueller.
Indeed she is. A Booth in the Back returns Wednesday to recap Week 10 of our Fantasy Football League. Join Don Nella Snooch, Brady, Big Lovin', and Lunar Girl in the booth live at 1800 Eastern, exclusively on the Sidebar Cantina Facebook page, to find out exactly how Aaron Rodgers gave Don the Rona.
Yeah.
Don the Rona.
Get well soon, Don. Apparently, he was vaccinated and had the booster.
I get the booster in a couple weeks. Don the Rona.
Yeah. Sucks.
Wear your mask, people.
Fuck this fucking pandemic already.
Yeah,
God
Jesus
damn.
Christ. The Escape Pod will be reminiscing Ghostbusters 1 and 2 this Wednesday to get us psyched up for the release of Ghostbusters Aftermath. That would be...
Afterlife.
It's Aftermath. I will read what's on the
Okay,
teleprompter.
I will give you that. But the actual name of the movie is Afterlife.
I will read what's on the teleprompter.
I want to see that. I want to see it in theaters.
Yeah, agreed. Join Don, Brady, and special guest Dragon Buddy on YouTube. Dragon Buddy's getting into the act.
Yay.
On YouTube at ATSW The Escape Pod at 1905 Eastern Standard Time. Why 1905, you ask? I don't know why.
I couldn't tell you.
Live chat is where it's at. Sweet Studios report team is wrapping up some new material for the quarantine sessions. Your clue is Wonderland Walnuts and is just about ready for harvest. Subscribe to Sweet Studios on YouTube, give him a follow on Instagram, and join his new Discord server for his latest nutty updates. The Orange and Fett Show are working on episode 5 about 1998 comedy Dirty Work, starring Norm Macdonald. Subscribe to them on Spotify and be notified of this
He's dead.
upcoming release. Who's dead?
Norm Macdonald.
He is dead.
Yeah.
But he was still in a movie in 1998.
Oh, all right.
Maybe that's why. Maybe it's poignant. That's why they're doing it, because Norm Macdonald's dead, so they're doing a movie that he did.
Do you have water for me?
Yes.
Sorry. I called for some water delivery.
What? That is fantastic.
What in the hell
That
is this?
that is amazing.
Dear God.
It's really heavy.
That is the Stein of Justice. Is it just water in there?
Yeah.
Drink,
Holy shit.
drink directly. There you go.
You should probably use 2 hands. Just because that's your bad shoulder.
Holy fuck.
And for those of you that are just listening, the water delivery came in a stein that's probably about, I don't know, 18 inches tall.
Is this like Game of Thrones themed or something?
There's somebody kneeling on.
There's like deer, there's like a fucking like little dragon guy on the fucking handle.
We'll need to take a picture of this and post it on the
Dear
social
God.
center. Anyway, that was it for our people. Follow us on Twitter. On Twitter at Sidebar Cantina, on Twitch the Sidebar Cantina, Facebook the Sidebar Cantina private Facebook group, Instagram at the Sidebar Cantina, and look for our Discord server, the Sidebar Cantina. That looks awful. Why is that different color?
There was a little bit of beer in the bottom.
Gross. We do have merch. You can look for our merch on TeePublic. You can't search for us for some reason, but if you go
to our link tree. It's all on the link tree, which is in the show description.
but click the link tree in our social media bios. You can buy t-shirts, hoodies, and a wide variety of designs, sizes, and colors for the entire family. There are also Sidebar Cantina face masks, tote bags, phone cases, exclusive stickers, and pics. Just about anything you can imagine. Feel free to tag us with your merch so Luna Girl can share it on the socials. Reviews. Fucking more 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
We already talked about that.
Luna Girl's dying to throw stickers. She will send you stickers. She has stickers to send. And that is all I have. Thanks again to Alan from Press Play Studios for the intro video, and we'll fix the sound for next time.
All right. And that being said, for next week, we just alluded to it a little bit. We are going to be talking Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yes.
And we actually have our topics for the rest of the year all planned out. If you want to do a little bit of research, the following week, November 29th, we are talking about the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds album. 55th anniversary. So Ferris Bueller and Pet Sounds, if you want to do a little bit of research ahead of time, and then we'll let you know what the other topics are as we get closer. So
Yes.
thank you everybody for listening. This was a fun episode, something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I'm glad we got to do it today on the 20th anniversary.
Yes.
And until next time, Dave and everybody else, go fuck yourself. I have a drinking problem.
I forgot there was beer in there. Like, that tastes funny. Okay, now what do I click?
All right, and we're officially in the after show.
You too good for the Stein?
My God.
Well, no, we always have to do the clicky at the end, so I had to put water in here because there has to be something in the thing. That's a Dave rule.
You could have used the Stein to do the...
It's so big.
Notice I didn't say it.
Say what?
Penis is so small.
Episode 221.
Everyone go hop over to Star Wars Journey with Ashley and Brandy after this.
Yeah,
A-
we're
after
gonna
the
do a
after
little
show.
post show. Are you joining us? All right, hold on. I'll get it out of the way. Has our game started yet?
No,
Okay. I have my rant all queued up and ready to go.
I heard.
Yeah.
Why does there need to be a rant?
There's gonna be all kinds of sandwiches being made involved, and it's gonna be epic.
Listen, he wants to have this misogynist rant, and I want to have it live on air, like for next week. And I want you to make sure you're here. I want you sitting right here
All right.
for it.
Sandwich, where's my bitch?
Do I have?
What you got there?
I tried to make dessert. It didn't work out. So luckily we have backup dessert.
Oh God, make him eat those.
Don't tell him what it is. Can you guess what flavor? M&Ms
It's a
these
new
are?
flavor of M&Ms.
They're really
It's not a joke thing.
It's really
This
good.
is like a legit M&M flavor.
This is all that's left of the bag because we've been going crazy.
Just eat it. Just try it.
There's also Kit Kat.
It's not a joke.
I don't want to eat it.
Just eat it. Just put it in your mouth.
That looks terrible.
Just a little bit. Just to see how it feels.
Yellow and brown M&Ms.
They're legit M&Ms.
Yeah.
This is a legit brand. It's not from a joke store. What does it taste like?
Tastes like a crackle.
What's a crackle?
What is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you?
What's a crackle?
Is that the super glue? The Craggle?
That's the craggle. It just tastes like it's like
All right.
like a puff.
Now we'll tell you what it is,
Okay.
and then try it again. Buttered popcorn M&Ms. Now try it again, knowing what it is.
Yeah.
Do you taste it?
No,
No?
no.
No, I could definitely tell what it was when I tried it. I'm like, this sounds disgusting, but I at least have to try it.
But you won't try the pumpkin spice cup of noodles.
She bought
That sounds terrible.
pumpkin spice
I have
cup
some-
of noodles.
I will make it right now. Pumpkin spice. cup
I
of
don't.
noodles.
No.
Nope.
And on the back it says for an extra treat, whipped cream at the top. Onion noodles. That's not a joke. We have it in the kitchen. I'll make it if you want.
I
Fucking
know.
disgusting.
I'm no. I'm good.
Yeah, see?
I don't.
Did the Eagles win yesterday?
Yeah.
Who did they play?
I don't know. Some schmucks.
We were driving in the car today to my appointment.
Broncos.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't see if the Eagles won or not because we were driving by the stadium.
Oh, depending on who you ask, like the Eagles are playoff bound now for apparently people on the radio. It's like, dude, let's calm the
Exciting for you.
fuck down.
Right.
Like, yeah, no.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Thanks, Chad.
Why did you bring these out? Now I just don't want to stop
See,
eating
it was
them.
supposed to be part of the dessert that didn't work out.
How does dessert not work out?
The batter was so thick, it would not have made good brownies. I don't know what went wrong with the recipe, but I'm like,
It sounds like you just eat
I just bring out the batter. Fuck it.
a
ooh.
couple spoons of batter.
Hell yeah.
Fat kids got to eat. It's always good day when Denver loses. It's so funny, like how vehemently against the Denver Broncos Bronco Fed is. Like, it has his colors, dude. They wore the most orange uniform I've ever seen. Like, they could have went deer hunting in these uniforms.
The Broncos.
Yeah. Like, I think the Eagles won surely because they knew exactly where every player on the field was at any given time.
Yeah.
Because like, holy shit, there's a big orange guy. I'm going to avoid that. Like traffic cones. Like, nope, we're just going to run around them. Like, oh, look out for the guy in the look out for the traffic cone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And the Eagles had some ridiculous uniform on too. It's like not ridiculous like that. Buttered popcorn M&Ms. Why?
So, for as long as I've known this one,
Yeah.
whenever we go to the movies, she has to have a bag of M&Ms with her because sometimes depending on the situation, she'll pour the bag of M&Ms
No.
into the thing of.
No.
Okay, so she'll just take some popcorn and then put M&Ms in with it, and she'll like take a bite.
2 M&Ms to 2 kernels of popcorn.
Yeah. And I guess she's not the only one because clearly this,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, chocolate covered popcorn's a thing. So I mean, I get it. But what are they doing to simulate popcorn?
I'm not sure I want to know.
Yeah. Let me have a couple of those.
I've made chocolate chip cookies with buttered popcorn stirred in. Those were good. Those were good. He didn't try them. Whatever.
I don't get popcorn at all.
You don't?
No.
Oh, I totally get it.
It's funny because they smell more like popcorn than they taste like popcorn.
It's more the butter.
I do smell the butter.
Yeah.
Now, when I get it up here, I do smell the butter.
Yeah.
This is the part of the fucking after show where we eat, apparently.
Yeah. A lot of people are into that, from what I hear.
Yep.
Let's see if it changes now that I've smelled the butter.
It's so weird. I can't do it. Are there people still in the chat? Hey, we do still have people. Dragon Buddy makes up a good point. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should make certain flavored M&Ms.
Facts.
Oh, he just had something pretty funny earlier too when you were talking about Luna Girl being on a bunch of shows.
I forgot these were here. Oh my god.
He said something to the effect of she doesn't make him sandwiches anymore because she's doing so many podcasts.
Created a monster.
I thought that was hilarious.
Because he was driving still. He wasn't at home.
Right.
I
So,
forgot they were there. God damn it.
Take them with you. Nobody else is going to eat them.
yeah.
Oh, I will. I don't want to go to work tomorrow. I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Thankfully, I get to telework tomorrow. So,
Even if I was teleworking,
you know,
it's just I don't.
so much for being retired, huh?
Yeah. No. Just not in the mood.
Yeah. Just not gonna go.
I'm just not going to go.
Yeah.
Could you, like, do that thing? You know, could you hypnotize me so, like, I think I'm at, fishing all day?
Yeah. Would be great. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna stop going.
No, I'm just not going to go.
Yeah.
He also hates sea chickens.
I'm assuming he means Seahawks.
I'm with you there.
$4.99.
That's insane.
Is this like a Goodwill purchase?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Goodwill, $4.99.
$4.99.
So that's before the 10% military discount.
It was, yeah.
That thing probably cost $4.99 to make.
Oh, at least. This thing's fucking huge.
I'll use it as a planter.
Weighs a ton.
I'll tell you, my hatred for Seattle is more towards Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
I can't stand Pete Carroll. Like, I hated him when he was coaching at USC, and I can't stand him with the fucking Seahawks.
Mm-hmm. They lost again yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, they lost to fucking the Hackers.
Yeah.
It was a tale of two fucking sickly quarterbacks.
We were watching when Russell Wilson had his little finger injury. It was like, ugh. He's like walking to the sidelines. His fingers are all fucking contorted. I'm like, ugh.
Dude, Don Sulsky sent me a video of this quarterback. It was a college game, and this quarterback like planted his foot, and the homeboy like spun around it. Like, you know how like in school you'd put the broomstick on your forehead and you'd like spin around it?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. It was like fucking whole body went around it. Like, what the fuck? You want to see it?
No, God,
Sure?
no.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I am 100% sure. Please, for the love of God,
I made the mistake of looking at it while I was driving. Like, oh God.
and you're like, fuck!
I'm like, God damn.
No, I saw live. I don't know if you remember. This was in the early 90s, like 93 time frame. The 49ers were playing the Raiders. Raiders running back, don't even remember the dude's name, gets tackled, and like one of the 49ers, the defender's body like falls right in front of his knee, and his knee just goes and just hyperextends the complete opposite way. And I'm watching that live, and I'm like, holy fuck, did that just happen?
Dude, what game was I watching? I was watching it. It was it might have been the Michigan game a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't the Michigan quarterback; it was the other team. And was it Michigan or it might have been the Penn State game? I don't remember. But the other quarterback, you know what it was? The Penn State game, it was in the overtimes. The quarterback goes up in the air, falls down on his wrist. Right? You watched his wrist go like, bleh, like kind of go cocked the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it's just he's standing there like fucking holding his arm like this. And the announcers spend fucking 10 minutes talking about, oh, he must have hit his elbow and his forearm. I'm like, motherfucker. They showed the replay like 3 more times. They're like, dude, he clearly broke his wrist.
Yeah.
Here comes the dude with the air cast. Stop talking about like him bruising his fucking elbow. Like he broke his goddamn arm. Like broke it. Like you saw it live. There was no doubt. Like motherfucker's arm broke. He's done.
Yeah.
Like yeah, watching that shit at real time and you see it, it's just like, oh god. I was watching a Villanova game, and it was how old was I? I wasn't. I was older, but I think it was Randy Foy, right? I'm watching him. He's like trying to get a ball that's getting ready to go out of bounds, and another guy is reaching for it. Motherfucker gets his eye poked out of his face. You saw the ball like come out of the like out of his fucking eye. I'm like, what the fuck? Right? And the camera's like, you saw, because they were zooming in on the ball going out of bounds.
Yeah,
they were zooming in on the dude's hand and the ball going out of bounds. It's right in on his fucking face, like, bing, like the fucking eyeball. I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, and you're like, I can't believe that just happened. And then he's like going over. He kept his eye. I mean, it was intact, like but it was attached to the retina still. It's just like
there was a pro wrestler that happened to. Like he gets his eye poked out during a match, and there's like video of him just like popping it like right back in.
Like, yeah, because that's what you do. Like, just look around like this. Like, how does your brain interpret that? Right? It's just like, this is interesting.
Oh, this is my first chance to look behind me without turning my head.
What's the back of my head look like? Oh, wow. Let's put this back in here. Like, I just imagine, like, I get so irritated if a fucking eyelash gets in my eye.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine if you were holding your eyeball? Like, no! Yeah, that would... Yeah, I wonder if that's on Google somewhere. Randy Foy eyeball. Hang on.
I'm not looking. I will not look.
I won't watch it again. I poked. Yeah, look at that.
That's the thing about football, man. It's a violent sport.
This wasn't football. This is basketball.
Oh, right. It's just easier to do it this way. The thing's so heavy. I saved you a beer, by the way.
Yay!
I didn't have one, so.
I just wanted to sip some.
Well, you can try it. You can try it now, or you can save it for later. Whatever you want to do.
Oh, it wasn't Randy Foy. Alan Ray. It was close. It was in 2006.
Yeah, I'm not gonna look.
There's no video. God damn it.
probably for the best.
Yeah, it is. I was watching it live. I can assure you.
What's his name?
I just said it.
And yes,
Ray is his last name. It's
Dragon Buddy was right. It was Vader.
Alan Ray. It was what?
Vader was the name of the wrestler whose eye popped out. And he just goes... I think he was wrestling Stan Hansen, I want to say.
You could have said any series of names, and I would have believed you.
Yeah. You found it?
Oh God. That was just a poke. I don't think that was it.
How many times has that motherfucker been poked in the eye in his career?
Dude, it was out. This shit was like, you saw like... Woof.
Ugh. No, thank you. All right, well, it's
Yeah.
8:18. We should probably wrap this up. I'm sure you all are so glad that you stayed for the post show.
That was it.
Kristen found the video.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Why did you do that to yourself?
I don't know.
I told you it was bad.
All
All right, with that.
right. Well, thanks for sticking around, guys. Appreciate it. Ferris Bueller next week. Then
Yes.
Pet Sounds. And just a little preview for those of you that stuck around. Star Wars Visions, doing the next half of that. And then might be talking about some Nightmare Before Christmas after that. So stay tuned.
Yep, it's on Disney Plus.
Yes, it is. So do it. And goodbye.